Post only to profile. What does that mean? Instagram just got an update, okay. Always. Always.
Just chilling in our rack.
Let me post on my second account too.
Looks like this was some old battlefield.
Wait, what are you doing? You can't kill something that's already dead. Run!
If you want to go by yourself.
To be called a sword. It was thicker, heavier, and much rougher than a normal blade. By all accounts, it was a heap of raw iron.
Guts! Behind you!
Sacrificum patum. Sacrificum patum. Sacrificum.
Wait. That doesn't count as real, that counts as a post. Oh. Yeah, whatever. Whatever. Wait. We don't wanna miss this.
Guts! Behind you!
Sacrificum patum. Sacrificum patum. Sacrificum.
Bro, I'm sorry.
I hope your
but,
god isn't at all like the
I
ones
have
I've
to
seen.
post that I'm live again.
It wasn't your fault.
You're right. Anyone who gets killed for being caught up in someone else's fight is a small fry. If they can't live their own life, they're better off dead. Those two didn't have the strength to protect themselves from walking this action like me. Besides, if you're worried about crushing the ants beneath you, you won't be able to walk.
So this is the world he lives in.
Gaga. It has been published by Hakusensha, GS Comics, Young Animal Comics, and Dark Horse
Okay, let's watch this from the complete beginning. So this is actually at least one part that is not cut off.
Comics. The following is a fan-made, non-commercial activity. Berserk was written and illustrated by Kentaro Miura, and is currently being produced by Studio Gaga. It has been published by Hakusensha, GS Comics, Young Animal Comics, and Dark Horse Comics. Arch Animations is not affiliated with any of the aforementioned parties, and does not claim to be an official Berserk adaptation. Its works are not intended to replace, supersede, or diminish officially licensed media. Please support the official release. Furthermore, we at Arch Animations strictly uphold the policy that the use of generative AI in any adult forms is strictly forbidden in the creation of this or any of our other current or upcoming productions. Real hands make real art. We honor the struggle. Is it man's destiny to writhe and wait for someone else to pull them from the dark? Or is man meant to wallow in hopelessness as everything collapses before them? Man takes up the sword in order to shield the small wound in his heart, sustained from a far-off time beyond remembrance. And man wields the sword so he may die smiling in some far-off time beyond perception. It is man's destiny to struggle.
I thought I knew you and now I don't know what's true, somehow I will make it through. What mercy is there in all this despair? Can they hear our prayer? What is there? What is there? We're in this nightmare and going nowhere. Can they hear our prayer? What is there? What is there?
Miss Igor, you suck. Shut up.
I can't
I'll make
believe
sure to
you
stuff
get away
that
with
goes right back down your throat.
The Lord Mayor won't even lay a hand on them if cooking guest.
Take this. You'll need it.
Bring it on, egghead.
Good. We're gonna make a spectacle of yourself for having such a big mouth.
Igor! Who the hell?
You're one of those thugs from Cookie Castle, aren't you? Answer me.
Yes. I'll do whatever you want.
I'll let you live so you can take a message to your boss for me. Tell him the Black Swordsman has come.
Hey, behind you!
You better tell him.
Hey, hold up a sec. Elf in distress. Hey, wait up.
I've never seen a sword like that before.
Hey, mister? Oh, where are my manners? I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Puck. Nice to meet you. Hey. Ah! That really hurt. What'd you do that for?
Come on, aren't you even gonna make a little noise? Stop it, bastard. You think this is some kind of joke? Let me change that.
Stop it at once. That's enough for now. Does this stockpile of weapons belong to that man?
Yes, Lord Mayor. But not to start his own war.
By chance, are you a mercenary? As an outsider, you've done a terrible thing. Because you murdered those men, this town may as well be destroyed.
One of those soldiers standing next to you is so worthless.
Igor! Who the hell?
You're one of those thugs from Cookie Castle, aren't you? Answer me.
Yes. I'll do whatever you want.
I'll let you live so you can take a message to your boss for me. Tell him the Black Swordsman has come.
Hey, behind you!
You better tell him.
Hey, hold up a sec. Elf in distress. Hey, wait up.
I've never seen a sword like that before.
Hey, mister? Oh, where are my manners? I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Puck. Nice to meet you. Hey. Ah! That really hurt. What'd you do that for?
Come on, aren't you even gonna make a little noise? Stop it, bastard. You think this is some kind of joke? Let me change that.
Stop it at once. That's enough for now. Does this stockpile of weapons belong to that man?
Yes, Lord Mayor. But not to start his own war.
By chance, are you a mercenary? As an outsider, you've done a terrible thing. Because you murdered those men, this town may as well be destroyed.
One of those soldiers standing next to you is so worthless. I'll need just decorations.
What was that, you son of a bitch?
That's enough. You have absolutely no idea how horrible he is. Ruler of those men. That thing, it's beyond human, incomprehensible, some kind of immortal monster. It's absolutely terrifying.
So that's why you made your dirty deal with him.
And how could you ever understand?
I understand. I know all about it. I know that thing is a monster that eats humans. I know it very well. I also know that you sent food to him. At the city's gates, I passed by them. A prison wagon filled with women and children.
I am the mayor. It is my duty to protect this town.
Don't you mean to protect yourself?
You are...
Mayor!
Go ahead. Torture him as much as you like. I don't care. But don't kill him. He must be sent to Coca Castle alive.
The Black Swordsman. Is that what he calls himself?
Yes, Baron. His sword was enormous, towering over him.
I see. Could it be?
What is it, my lord?
Nothing. Make sure the preparations are set.
Yes, will do.
He has finally come.
Get away from me.
Hey, mister, I got you something. The guard outside was sleeping on the job, so I helped myself. His loss, I guess. By the way, thanks again for the help at the end, and I thought I'd return the favor. And hey, if you get a move on, they won't even know you.
Don't touch me! Don't you ever touch me.
What the hell? I'm not trying to hurt ya.
The pain, it's gone away.
That should take care of the worst of it. Feel better now? I know it probably still stings right now, but trust me, once you get back on your feet, you'll feel like a new man. Hey, wait a minute, what's your name anyway?
Gus.
What's with that old scar by your neck? It looks like some sort of weird crest or symbol.
It's the brand.
Brand? So, how'd you end up getting something like that?
You talk too much. You know that? You'll find out soon enough. In fact, he'll be coming here to kill me. As well as burn this whole town to the ground.
Does that mean it's those guys from Copta Castle? You're not gonna let the townsfolk get hurt in all of this, are you?
And so what? All I want to do is find that bastard and kill him. I don't care about anything else.
He talks like all those people mean nothing to him. But this anger I feel boiling off of him. Is it rage? No, it's something much deeper. It works. Well, if you don't care, why'd you go out of your way to save me?
Who do you
Wait. This maybe, I don't know. This is good. Whatever.
All I want to do is find that bastard and kill him. I don't care about anything else.
He talks like all those people mean nothing to him. But this anger I feel boiling off of him. Is it rage? No, it's something much deeper. It works. Well, if you don't care, why'd you go out of your way to save me?
Who do you think you are? Did you really think I wanted to save you? Risking my life for a buck? Hey! What are you doing, you little... Hey, wait! Don't be like that!
My lord.
How good of you to come. It's been a while, thief lord. I'm sorry, you're a minister now.
Your lordship, I've come to ask you for forgiveness for this recent transgression.
Minister, why don't you tell me these things? I get the impression that you don't trust me.
Please, Lord, forgive me. This was the act of a lone vagrant who is unfamiliar with our ways. I'll give you double the amount of prisoners and gold from now on. So
He
please.
said he was the Black Swordsman, did he not?
I'm sorry.
You look afraid, Leia. Unlike before, you're now worried that you'll lose your own life, aren't you? Gold, prisoners. These things are of no use to me. However, I do want to give that man a warm welcome. I desire to see humans gasping for air within a fiery apocalypse, to hear them screaming as their bones are crushed under the hooves of horses. I'd love to prepare such festivities for him.
Lord, please, you gave me a word that you wouldn't do anything to harm this town.
Did I?
What are you doing? Let go of me!
Let them burn.
No, please!
Kill them all!
No! Somebody help me! This is terrible.
Run, cowards! There's nowhere for you to hide!
Mercy, please, have mercy on us.
Burn everything to the ground and leave no survivors.
That can't be.
Make sure not escape.
No survivors! No shall escape the slaughter!
Don't let anyone get away. The bombs are moving.
Out of my way, fools. He's come here for me. So, you're the Black Swordsman. I've heard rumors about you.
How does he expect us to do anything like that?
It's futile. It doesn't matter how many bows you shoot at me. A mere human like you has no chance of killing me.
It's a demon. Run for alive. Run.
You can still move. Oh, still breathing, are we? Now you understand just how fragile humans are. This is the end of you. So weak, how pathetic. You humans are mere food for us. Nothing more than morsels to satisfy our hunger. And I will enjoy sucking the flesh from your bloody bones.
Hey, don't you go telling them yet.
You, that friend.
Didn't you say that human couldn't kill you?
Stop! Stop it, please!
You're right. We are mortally weak. But even if we're tortured or wounded, we'll fight to survive. Why don't you taste a little bit of that pain too? I understand.
No! Stop it! Please don't kill me!
You said from those people begged you for mercy. Tell me, where's the God Hand?
I don't know. I don't know where they are. It's not for a person such as I to know. I'm telling you the truth. Wait, please!
I think I'll let you burn. It'll suit you very well, like the way you slowly fed off those sunstroke.
I don't want to die! Help me! Why don't you tell me these things?
Lord. No! Somebody help me! This is terrible.
Run, cowards! There's nowhere for you to hide!
Mercy, please, have mercy on us.
Burn everything to the ground and leave no survivors.
That can't be.
Wait, but then what happened in the original in season 1?
return.
What's timeline?
Who goes there? The Black Swordsman? That turned. Human. Kill him! You've got far enough. Prepare yourself!
I'm just kinda confused where the fan-made starts and where the original series starts. Because the original old doesn't start at the manga beginning. So it's a bit confusing. Isn't there any reaction to this? Wait, but this is also fan-made. But is it a whole episode? Okay, this is a completely different style.
So, the Lord of Coke is amazing. Out of my sight.
Dude, I don't really like the style.
Well, Curry was the ground.
It was far too large
I mean, I respect this fan-made, but
to rightfully be called a sword. It was larger, thicker, heavier, and cruder than any.
this animation style is like a lot worse and not close to how the original would have been. Anyway, bro, it's so confusing where the animated series starts. So let's watch something else to not be confused anymore. I mean, is there anything to react to? Bro, what the hell is this thumbnail? Dude, what the hell are these thumbnails? There's almost 2 hours. But maybe that's actually a good video.
Some anime inspire us with stories about adventurous heroes and fantastical worlds, while some anime exist just to remind us that no matter how bad our own world may seem, it could always be much, much worse. So this Halloween,
I'm not sure if I already
I kind of wanted
watched
to dig
this.
into an anime that has horrified me beyond belief. That's right, today we're talking about Berserk. Our hero Guts is about to go from this
Be so damn slow.
to this.
The countless nights trying to reach him have prepared me for this.
You're in the way!
Not only did he grow up into an incredible swordsman, he became a freaking 3D model. Berserk is the ultimate revenge story, following a lifelong friendship turned rivalry between the two unforgettable warriors, Guts and Griffith. It is, without a doubt, one of the darkest and most unflinchingly brutal shows in anime history. First started in 1988 as a manga by Kentaro Miura, the series is still being published today despite Miura's tragic death in 2021. The series was first adapted into a single season of TV in 1997 that covered the manga's first arc, and 2 more seasons released in 2016 continued the story. And yes, I'm fully aware that any Berserk fan will tell you that the manga is far superior to the anime adaptations. But hey, we're not called Jar Manga, are we? Just a quick content warning before we start. Berserk is an incredibly violent and mature series, featuring many instances of graphic torture and violence. If that's not for you, please feel free to check out one of our lighter videos instead. With that out of the way, let's dive right in. Episode 1, Black Swordsman. The first series from 1997 opens with a blacksmith who is forging the Dragon Slayer, an absolutely massive greatsword. Nearby, a man dressed in black sits and watches. This is our protagonist, Guts, a broken, tortured warrior with as many arms as he has working eyes. 1.
Yo, sorry, I didn't see your messages. What is the chat box even working? Oh, yeah, it works, it works.
Picks up his new weapon and enters the dark town of Kok.
Is it even good? the manga is very good.
Suffice
Just the animation
to say, the vibes in this
series,
town
which is
are
bad.
not good, and everyone seems super depressed. In a tavern, one guy says that ever since a man named Griffith became king, everything has become completely hopeless. Just then, a band of thugs bursts into the tavern, dragging a young girl with them. They start terrorizing this helpless girl, forcing her to lick a spill
I know all of this, but
drink off the
let's
table,
watch
and
from
when her
the
grandfather
beginning
begs them to let
anyway.
her go, they beat him up too. Total scumbags, but you'll learn soon that in the world of Berserk, these guys are small fries compared to the evilness of many other characters. Guts kicks in the door and shoots 3 of the thugs with an automatic crossbow mounted on a mechanical arm. He hits the last thug with a throwing knife and gives him a simple message to bring to his master. The black
Throwing
swordsman has
knife,
come.
the
A thug
finest
rushes him from behind,
reference.
and Guts quickly slices him in half with this behemoth greatsword. Seriously, this thing would put even the Buster Sword to shame. Later, a man tells the Minister of Koka about this turn of events, and the minister orders the town guards to find and arrest this black swordsman at once. He seems really afraid to bring this news to his boss, the Snake Baron, which might be because the guy straight up looks like a Shinigami. And the similarities don't stop there, because this Baron says that he loves the sounds of bones crushing and people burning. This man needs therapy. Anyway, Guts is camping out in the forest when a brand on his neck begins to bleed. He is tortured by visions of spirits who tell him
Bro,
his
my
body and
nose
soul
is
belong to them
itching.
as long as he bears the mark. He tries to attack these ghosts in vain and curses Griffith's name.
Because there's
Griffith. Who can ever forget this beautiful bastard?
finger that's hanging here.
Griffith.
And speaking of bastards, the Snake Baron and his men burn the entire city to the ground and slaughter the townsfolk to draw out the black swordsman. And unfortunately for them, it works. Guts takes out a group of soldiers with his
Is it too fast for you, or
crossbow,
do
but the
you
Baron
follow
transforms
along
into a
with
giant
2 times
snake monster
speed?
and swats Guts away with his tail. The Snake Baron states that a human could never hope to match up being like him, but this isn't a normal human we're dealing with. Guts uses a hidden cannon in his mechanical arm to blast the Baron and slashes him with the Dragon Slayer. He then grabs a stone object that was around the Baron's neck, fires dozens of arrows into him as he begs for mercy, and leaves the Snake Baron to burn in the fires he started. Then we jump back many years to when Guts was a much younger man and about to fight a knight twice his size.
Oh, I
Episode
also have an important question. Do you hear the fan? Do you hear it? Because I've got it on max setting.
2. Band of the
And
Falcon.
it's- for
In
me
this
it's
flashback,
loud,
an
but
army is
maybe
laying
the
siege
mic
to a
cancels
massive fortress.
it
They break the
out.
gate with a battering ram, but the entire army is held back by a giant knight with a battle axe known as Bazuso the 30-Man Slayer. Guts steps forward
It's
unafraid
okay,
of this giant
alright.
figure and uses his superior speed to cut him down. See, Guts is a traveling mercenary, and the general of the army he's working for offers him a
Wait, is the delay gone? Because stream crashed.
permanent
never mind,
position
it's
with the
still
army,
there, okay,
but
good.
that's not really Guts' style,
I mean,
so he grabs his payment and
depends.
heads off to find his next
That's
gig. Also, it seems like Guts has a big issue with anyone touching him. Respect the personal bubble, alright? As he's traveling, he is spotted by the Band of the Falcon, a mercenary group led by their charismatic and laid-back leader, Griffith. Some of Griffith's underlings are eager to try their luck with the Black Swordsman, and Griffith, nonchalant as ever, tells his men that they can go ahead and kill
Because
Guts if they
bro,
want
it's
to.
so loud
Be
that
satisfied
I
till I
can
kill
barely
one
hear
who came
myself.
between me and my glory.
I'm gonna set
Then
it
do that.
to
Another mercenary
middle.
named Casca warns her comrades that they are no match for Guts, but they don't listen. Guts takes out 2 of them, and Griffith orders Casca to step in before they lose their entire squad. She shoots Guts in the arm, but he is undeterred and quickly drives Casca, the band's second best fighter, into a corner. If you want something done right, you just gotta do it yourself. So Griffith, being the leader and the strongest of the band, intervenes and manages to block Guts' big greatsword easily with his thin saber. He stabs Guts in the side with lightning speed, and Guts collapses to the ground. Then, Guts has a dream where he is just a child being chased by a monster. He begs his adoptive father Gambino for help, but the man replies that he cannot because Guts killed him. Guts cries out that he is sorry while a skeleton army torments him. Oh, hey, I know these guys! Even while unconscious, Guts is aware of Casca lying next to him naked. Apparently, Griffith ordered her to keep Guts warm after he lost so much blood. Mostly an embarrassing way to punish Casca for losing the fight. Griffith is impressed by Guts' guts and wants him to join the Band of the Falcon. Guts initially refuses, and they decide the only way to settle this
By the way, the YouTube stream crashed, so I would appreciate if you go on a new YouTube stream and leave
is
a
with
like.
another duel. I think I know how this one ends. Episode 3, First Battle. As their battle
Also, I decided to not categorize any of the YouTube streams really anymore, and just also minimalized the
begins, Guts can't help but be
thumbnail.
impressed with Griffith's ability to evade every blow.
So,
Griffith offers
yeah.
to postpone the fight until Guts is fully healed.
It just
But patience doesn't
it used to be extra work, and
seem to be one of Guts'
the extra work kinda demotivated
strong
me.
suits. With the whole band watching,
Because
Griffith
it was
jumps on top of
just,
Guts' sword to hold it in place.
you know,
In return,
I mean,
Guts
demotivated me from just going live because I knew I was gonna have more work.
bites down
So now I just have it.
on the tip of Griffith's sword and
Now I
sends both
just fix the title
of
after
them
the
tumbling down a
stream.
hill. Now unarmed, Griffith quickly pins Guts and tells him to
Something, I don't
surrender.
know.
But surrender isn't a word that Guts knows,
Anyways.
and Griffith is forced to dislocate his shoulder to end the fight. Griffith looks Guts right in the eyes and tells him that he now belongs to the Band of the Falcon. Casca watches this and seems pretty jealous, remarking that Griffith has never taken this much interest in a fighter before. Then again, they've never come across someone like Guts before. That night, the band celebrates the addition of their newest member, but not everyone is happy about adding a guy that's killed 2 of their comrades. A group of them, led by a merc named Corcus, plan to kill Guts in his sleep, but Casca stops them. Guts thanks her, and she replies that she is only acting in Griffith's best interest and doesn't give a damn about what happens to Guts. Am I sensing an and enemies to lovers arc here? Later, the band is about to start their next job of raiding a nearby military camp. Griffith gives Guts the most important job of leading the rear guard. Corcus is relieved, certain that Guts will get overwhelmed by this job and get himself killed.
You'll have to help all your fellow soldiers escape while containing hundreds of enemy cavalrymen on a straight road through the woods. Can you manage it?
The band races into the camp, taking them by surprise and burning everything to the ground. Guts saves the life of the band's youngest member, Rickert, and turns back to hold off the camp's heavy cavalry all by himself. For a guy who didn't even want to join the band, he's really giving Employee of the Month vibes here. When Rickert reports this to Griffith, everyone thinks that surely even Guts wouldn't be able to survive against such a large force. But Griffith knows better and dispatches a team to rescue Guts. They find that Guts has single-handedly taken out almost half of the cavalry, and Griffith leads the rest of them right into a trap, blasting them away with cannons. That night, the band celebrates their flawless victory, fully embracing Guts as a member after he proved
Bro, did smoke just come out the battle because it's so hot? Yo. That's crazy.
his strength and saved one of their own. Thing is, Guts isn't a partying sort of dude. He would rather sit by himself and reflect on how effective Griffith is as a leader. Then the hulking mercenary Pippin picks Guts right up and carries him to the festivities by force. The whole band toasts Guts and he reluctantly drinks with them. Meanwhile, Corcus and Casca watch from a distance. You can already tell they know some things are about to change around here. Episode 4, The Hand of God. The next morning, Guts is back to his lonely brooding ways when a friendly mercenary named Judo asks Guts how he's liking his new job. Guts replies that he's surprised at how loyal and committed everyone seems to be despite being a group of bloodthirsty thugs. Judo says this is all thanks to Griffith, who is a beloved leader that inspires all of his followers. Then, Griffith invites Guts to wash up together at a well, and pretty soon the two are having a blast, splashing each other like kids. Aw, I sure hope nothing horrifically tragic ever transpires between these two. Guts notices a stone hanging around Griffith's neck, a stone that is very similar to the one he takes from the Snake Baron years in the future. Griffith explains that it is a Beirit, also known as Egg of the King. Apparently, whoever owns it is destined to rule the world in exchange for their own flesh and blood, or at least that's how it was explained to Griffith, but even he doesn't really know how the thing works. Despite being the humble leader of a mercenary band, Griffith dreams of ruling his own kingdom with the Band of the Falcon serving as his personal army. Guts believes this is an impossible dream, but if anyone could pull it off, it would be Griffith. As the band prepares for their next battle, Guts reflects on his past. Guts was born in the midst of a terrible battle, and was taken in by the mercenary Gambino, who found him next to his mother's corpse. The name Guts was given to him based on the pile of gore he was found in.
Do you see that?
He was raised as a warrior and only ever wanted to impress his unforgiving adoptive father. One day, Gambino snapped and attacked Guts, blaming him for the death of his lover Shisu. Now, Shisu died of the plague and it had absolutely nothing to do with Guts, but that doesn't matter to this crazy old mercenary, who gave Guts a scar across his nose.
I got the enemy commander. I won the entire reward.
The meat.
Huh?
Where's the meat? To feed my dog.
Guts was forced to fatally stab his father figure in self-defense and flee the mercenary camp while injured. All he has ever known his whole life is killing. Damn! This guy really needs therapy. I have a feeling I'm going to be saying that a lot in this show, though. 3 years go by with Guts fighting for the Band of the Falcon, and he is soon promoted to the captain of the Falcon's Raiders. The band gains skill and infamy while fighting for the Kingdom of Midland in their 100-year war against the Kingdom of Tudor. They eventually become known as the Grim Reapers of the battlefield. That's impressive! Episode 5, Swordwind. After yet another victory, Casca yells at Guts for rushing straight into enemy hordes instead of following the battle plan. Griffith tells Guts not to take it personally, and that when he drew up the battle plans, he took into account the fact that Guts would probably ignore them. Now there's a good leader. Griffith is then knighted by the King of Midland for his service, and the Band of the Falcon is formally accepted as an official army division. For their next job, the band is attacking an enemy armory. They charge right through the front gate, but it turns out to be a trap as the whole armory is rigged to explode. Guts notices this quickly and orders a retreat, saving the entire band. Casca thanks Guts and apologizes for doubting his battle instincts. After this,
My hand slipped and I dropped my phone on the fucking street. And a car almost drove over it. Nice. Bro, my hand slipped and I dropped my phone on the fucking street. And a car almost drove. Bro, my hand slipped and I dropped my phone on the fucking street. And a car almost drove over it. Nice.
Bro, he said his phone slipped and a car almost drove over it.
Bro, my hand slipped.
No, wait, his pants slipped and then his phone fell on the street. Wait.
Bro, my hand slipped and I...
Alright.
This, the King of Midland entrusts Griffith's band with the crucial mission to siege a Tudor castle. Griffith clutches his Beirit and sends Guts' raiders into battle. Episode 6, Zod the Immortal. One of Griffith's men reports that Guts and his raiders were able to enter the castle, but they're being held back by a single enemy commander. Judo says that he's heard about this fearsome enemy known as Zod the Immortal. He's earned that nickname because legend has it he's been fighting for over 100 years, and despite falling in combat multiple times, he always returns, somehow. Guts orders his men to fall back so he can take on Zod by himself, and this guy barely even looks human. Sheesh, just the kind of face only a mother could love. The guy attacks Guts with overwhelming speed and strength, and miraculously, our black swordsman doesn't get obliterated. Guts actually manages to land a single hit, but Zod is unfazed. To end things quickly, the guy transforms into
Wait, Tiger, did you see the temperature thing I hold it in the camp?
a massive
Did you
minotaur
see
creature.
it?
Guts is shocked that such a monster exists in this world, and gets smacked around like an insect. Griffith arrives with a crossbow unit, but Zod just shreds through them like paper. Griffith orders a retreat while he and Guts hold off Zod, but even with Griffith and Guts working together, they're no match for this monster. Zod knocks Griffith out and is about to finish him off when he notices the bayret around his neck, causing him to stop his rampage. He wonders how a puny human like Griffith ended up in possession of what he calls the Crimson Bayret of the God Hand. Then, Zod turns to Guts and tells him that he is destined to be betrayed and killed by Griffith to serve Griffith's ambitions.
When you regard one another as brother, and this man's ambition crumbles, it is your destiny to face your death.
Then, he sprouts some wings and flies away. Wow, they got real lucky here. Guts is left pondering these words and staring at the bayret, when the rest of the band enters and Casca rushes to the side of their fallen leader. She curses Guts and blames him for endangering Griffith's life. Yeah, it's his fault they had to fight a literal demon. Jeez. Episode 7, Swordmaster. Despite taking heavy losses, the Band of the Falcon did technically secure the enemy castle, earning a wounded Griffith yet another promotion from the king. While recovering, Griffith is visited by important nobles, and he takes the opportunity to do some old-fashioned schmoozing. Guts is blocked from entering Griffith's chambers by 2 castle guards, but he knocks them aside. Before he can enter, Casca punches Guts and tells him he could be ruining Griffith's political ambitions by acting this way, causing Guts to storm off and sulk some more. But the rest of the band is kind of on Guts' side. They like Griffith as the fearless leader to their merry band of mercs, not as a politician. Later, Guts is training by repeatedly swinging his greatsword, frustrated that no matter what he does, he is always berated and blamed by Casca. Griffith interrupts and asks Guts what happened after Zod knocked him out. Guts tells him that Zod recognized the bayret, but leaves out the part about Zod's cryptic warning.
Nosferatu, Zod. To think that such an enormous monster really exists.
Guts asks why Griffith was willing to risk his life for just a single member of his band. Griffith replies that, hey, that's just the kind of leader he is, and Guts should stop doubting how much he cares about his crew. Then, the pair are visited by the king and his shy daughter, Princess Charlotte. Griffith immediately takes notice of Charlotte and catches her when she trips. Ooh, is this love at first sight? Nah, with Griffith, it's likely more of a political opportunity at first sight kind of thing. The next task for the Falcons is their toughest yet. They must take a heavily fortified stronghold that is only accessible via a single bridge that spans a raging river. Episode 8, Conspiracy. In the dead of night, the Falcons set up a series of ropeways to transport their troops and weapons across the river. Griffith and the main force act as a distraction on the bridge while Guts and his raiders sneak in the back. The operation is a resounding success, and the enemy commander Adon is forced to flee on a small raft. This gets Griffith another promotion from the king to the position of Count. This guy is straight up speedrunning nobility ranks. The king's younger brother Julius is not too happy about a commoner rising so high in the ranks. Julius leads the White Dragons, a military detachment that used to be the pride of Midland before the Falcons came along. He conspires with his conniving minister Foss to have Griffith accidentally killed by a stray arrow while providing a personal escort to the king on a hunting party. Yeah, we've reached the part where it's okay to assassinate political rivals. Fan-freaking-tastic! Episode 9, Assassination. Working guard duty for the king and his buddies while they hunt foxes isn't exactly Guts' idea of an exciting mission, but it gives Griffith the perfect opportunity to get closer with Charlotte. She's never even ridden a horse before, and Griffith offers advice and comfort to the frightened princess. As he does, he is suddenly struck in the chest by a poisonous arrow. Guts and Casca rush to Griffith's side, but this lucky bastard is completely fine. The arrow struck his bayret and left Griffith without a single scratch. How much luck can one guy have?
Princess! What's this all about? Where the hell did this arrow come from? Tell me!
When Griffith sees Julius glaring at him, he knows immediately who was behind this assassination attempt. The king assumes that this was a plot by the Tudors to kill the princess that Griffith prevented, making him even more popular with the ruler of Midland. Later, Griffith summons Guts to his chambers and gives him the order to assassinate Julius. Guts is no stranger when it comes to killing, but Griffith warns him that taking a life in this sneaky way will be completely different. Guts just replies that an order is an order, and sets off on his first ever stealth mission. If Guts is anything like me when stealth mission is an option, this is about to go very poorly. Episode 10, Precious Thing. Guts sneaks across rooftops and makes his way to Julius' quarters. He sees the king's brother practicing sword fighting with his young son Adonis. Julius harshly criticizes his boy's weak form, and tells him that since he may be king someday, he must grow stronger. Guts waits until Julius is alone and attacks, cutting his target down with a single strike. At that moment, Adonis enters the room, and Guts doesn't even hesitate to skewer this unfortunate witness. As the little boy dies in front of him, Guts is shocked at how easily he was able to commit this terrible act, and he then has to kill 2 more guards to escape the castle unseen. And while Guts commits these evil deeds for Griffith, that dude is living it up at a fancy ball, enjoying the finest meats and wine while flirting with the princess. I'm not so sure this guy is really the selfless leader he claims to be. Traumatized, Guts goes to speak with Griffith. He sees Griffith speaking with Charlotte by a fountain, when Casca appears and tells Guts to wait until Griffith is alone. Listening to the conversation between Griffith and the princess, the two hear their leader say he does not consider any of the Falcons to be his friends, and that a true friend would chase his own dream instead of blindly following someone else's orders. God damn, I'm no leader myself, but I'm pretty sure that's no way to talk about people that are literally willing to kill and die for you.
Dreams breathe life into men, and can cage them in suffering.
With Julius out of the way and the king believing an assassin from Tudor was responsible, Griffith's reputation only grows within the kingdom. He soon becomes known as the guardian angel of Midland, and begins to prepare for a battle that would finally end the 100-year war with the Tudor kingdom. Guts, meanwhile, keeps thinking about Griffith's words, and begins to question whether his leader even values his followers at all. I mean, after hearing all that, this should be a red pill moment, honestly. Episode 11, The Battle. As they prepare for battle, Princess Charlotte gives Griffith a keepsake that belonged to her late mother, the Queen. It's one part of a set, and Charlotte has the other half, so he promises to make it back unscathed to reunite the two. Charlotte begs Casca to watch over Griffith during the battle, but her wicked stepmother, the new queen, tells her she can never end up with someone who was born a commoner. Personally, I'd say Griffith is a lot of things, but common isn't one of them. I mean, look at that snow-white hair. Doesn't look very common to me. Anyway, the Band of the Falcon is tasked with leading the charge toward the enemy capital of Doldry. During their first skirmish with the Tudors, Casca is taunted by the misogynistic enemy commander Adon, who says that the only way she could have risen so high in the Falcons is by sleeping with Griffith. Casca is enraged and attacks the commander, but she seems pale and off her game. Guts steps in and knocks down the commander, but Casca suddenly faints and falls off a cliff, with Guts diving right after her. The two fall into the river below, and the Falcons claim victory despite losing their 2 strongest fighters. Guts drags Casca to shore and manages to resuscitate her, but she is feverish and won't wake up. Guts then uses his own body to keep her warm while they wait out a torrential rainstorm in a cave. That's sweet! Episode 12, Together. Casca finally wakes up and thanks Guts for saving her life by throwing a knife at his head. To be fair, waking up naked in a cave is a pretty unsettling experience, and Guts kinda deserves it, because he goes on to say that women are too emotional and this is why they don't belong on the battlefield. Nobody belongs on the battlefield, bro, but I'd say she's doing a pretty good job so far. Guts asks Casca why she joined the Falcons in the first place, and she tells him about her past. She grew up in a small farming village that was ravaged by the war. One day, a nobleman was traveling through the town when he saw Casca and offered to buy her from her parents. They agreed, and the nobleman immediately tried to force himself on the 12-year-old Casca. Don't worry, justice came for this bastard real quick. Griffith appeared and stopped the nobleman before throwing a sword to Casca. She held the weapon in front of her and impaled the nobleman, killing him instantly. After this, she was ingratiated to Griffith and begged him to take her with him. He allowed it, saying that everyone must choose their own path in life.
Griffith, we cleared everything out.
Go!
For a while, before Guts joined them, the band of the Falcon worked for a rich lord named Ganon, who was known to have a preference for underage boys. Casca was disgusted to be working for this literal pedo, but Griffith assured her that it was necessary for the good of the Falcons. This is the kind of talk that gets people cancelled. But wait, it gets worse. One night, Casca saw Griffith naked in Ganon's chambers. Yeah, you heard that right. Griffith was sleeping with him. Yikes! She later asked him why he would do such a thing. He responded by saying that the band needed money in order to become independent, and he would rather sacrifice his own body than let other children suffer. Yeah, right, that'll surely stop him. Anyway, Casca was moved by Griffith's commitment to his dream and vowed to do anything to help him achieve it. And they killed the disgusting pedo lord, right? Apparently not. Fingers crossed he doesn't make it out of this show alive. Episode 13, Ready to Die. Back in the forest, Guts and Casca are being hunted by the Blue Whale Knights, a group from the Tudor Kingdom. Casca is still sick and struggling to even walk, so it's not long before they are surrounded by knights, led by Adon, who somehow managed to survive the battle. Man, this guy just won't die. He says he and his men will enjoy taking their time torturing Guts and using Casca as their plaything. Alright Guts, I think it's time to introduce them to your greatsword. Guts and Casca fight side by side and take out a bunch of these creeps, until they bring out their secret weapon, a giant flail-wielding knight named Samson. Even this guy is no match for Guts, and after slaying Samson, Guts tells Casca to make a run for it back to Griffith while he holds them off. As unstoppable as this duo is, the enemy numbers are just too overwhelming. Guts is slowly being worn down, and while Casca tries to make her escape, a group of thugs soon have her pinned to the ground. Episode 14, Bonfire of Dreams. The soldiers taunt Casca while holding her down, but they've picked the wrong woman to mess with. She grabs a piece of wood and drives it into a soldier's neck, and the rest are taken out by Judo and some Falcons who arrive just in time. Casca leads the search party back to where she left Guts and finds him surrounded by dozens of corpses, seriously wounded, but still breathing. Back in camp, a doctor tells Guts he is too wounded to participate in any more battles, but he's not going to listen to that nonsense. Griffith has already left for a war council, but apparently he was the one who insisted on sending a search party, so he does care about them. Or at least about what they can do for him.
Those two are key to the Hawks. I will not give them up.
Griffith said that?
Judo gives Casca some magic medicine for Guts, and she brings it to him on a hill overlooking the camp. Guts says that everyone in the Falcons has a dream they're fighting for, except for him. He doesn't necessarily care about Griffith's dream, he just fights because it's all he's ever known. Casca asks if Guts is going to leave the Falcons, and he replies that he will see this war to the end, but after that, he'll be saying their own to take on the enemy force of 30,000, and the king agrees. At the camp, Guts is playing dice with his comrades when they hear about their next mission. Guts says it doesn't matter how many men they're up against, but Casca is worried that Griffith isn't thinking clearly. It turns out, the current governor of Doldry is none other than the pedo lord Ganon, and Griffith might just be looking to finally settle the score with that scumbag.
I believe they will be more of a challenge to defeat than the others who have relied on their numbers and reputation.
Up in the castle, Ganon hears that Griffith will be leading the charge against him, and he seems really excited about this. He orders his men to capture Griffith and bring him back to Ganon's chambers unharmed. Isn't he a bit old for you at this point, you sicko? Soon enough, the Falcons begin their charge, a head-on assault against the Purple Rhino Knights. They ride right up to the enemy soldiers and then immediately turn around and retreat. Ganon thinks Griffith has lost his nerve and orders his men to pursue the Falcons, leaving the castle undefended. Episode 16, The Conqueror. Casca leads a sneak attack into the unguarded castle. The only one who saw this coming was Adon and his Blue Whale Knights, who are excited to get revenge on Casca and the Falcons for their last encounter. The cowardly captain fakes a surrender, only to shoot Casca with a poison arrow. She persists against the poison's effects and leaps over Adon, splitting his head in two. Finally with that bastard. Meanwhile, Guts is struggling against the commander of the Purple Rhinos. His sword snaps, and even in this situation, he recalls his fight with Zod the Immortal and knows this is nothing in comparison. And speak of the devil, Zod himself is watching this fight from up on a cliff. Ugh, I literally think he might be the devil. But it appears the devil is impressed with our MC. In respect of his strength, Zod hurls a sword to Guts that he uses to cut the Purple Rhino commander. All the enemy soldiers turn around to try and retreat, but for them, their castle has already been captured.
Everyone give a shout for victory!
Griffith confronts Ganon on the battlefield, and the pervert tells Griffith that he is in love with him. Griffith responds with a sword to the face. Finally! As the Falcons begin to celebrate their victory, Zod watches from afar and says the time of the great eclipse is drawing near, and the demon lords will soon descend.
Wait, I mean, we could also go live on Kick. Or on TikTok too. Yeah, why not? Why not? Let me just create new key. Wait. Okay, just had to make sure. Copy. Wait, I clicked on go live and nothing happened. Okay, no. Okay, 4 platforms at once. Let's see if it works. Okay, it's lagging, it's lagging. Maybe it's gonna go away, the lag. Okay, no, TikTok crashed. But Kick didn't. Maybe if I start again. Okay, it stops after 15 seconds, but why? Oh, wrong server URL. Wrong server URL. Maybe. Yep. Okay, now let's wait 15 seconds again. Also gotta go and Kick. Go and Kick. Well, Kick seems to be working good, no problems. Create a dashboard. Okay, now TikTok shows at OBS that it's apparently streaming, but here it isn't. I'm gonna stop it. Now I'm gonna start on TikTok again. One last try. Okay, TikTok still doesn't seem to work. I'm gonna start a new stream on TikTok. I'm gonna try one last time. And this worrying part right here, just gonna be cut it out from the VOD, so the VOD is actually enjoyable. Slow mode. So no, it's not on instant, but this shows it wrong. What's an emote? Okay, 70V works.
But doing so will require remove out the
Oh, TikTok works apparently. Just had to restart it. Okay, well then, that was worth it. Alright.
Guts from Berserk.
That's surely not ominous at all. Back at the Midland Castle, not everyone is jazzed about this victory. Despite the fact that Griffith and his Falcons pretty much single-handedly ended a century-long war, these haters just can't get over the fact that he was born a commoner. A group of nobles, including Minister Foss and the Queen herself, plan to poison Griffith on his return. I say good luck to them. God knows they'll need it. Episode 17, Moment of Glory. Griffith and his band return to a massive parade being thrown in their honor. Princess Charlotte is ecstatic to see her beloved knight returned unharmed, while her stepmother is busy planning his funeral. Then, Minister Foss gets a letter from Griffith, and whatever he reads absolutely enrages him. At an extravagant ball that night, the Falcons are swarmed by women and adoring fans. It's not exactly Guts' thing, so he makes a quick escape with Casca. But even the stoic Guts can't help but be shocked to see Casca looking lovely in a beautiful dress. The king makes an announcement that all of the Falcons are going to be elevated to the rank of nobility and offers a toast in their honor. A servant brings Griffith a poisoned cup of wine. The leader of the Falcons drinks from the cup and immediately collapses. Episode 18, Tombstone of Flames. With Griffith officially pronounced dead, the queen and her conspirators celebrate the success of their assassination. Minister Foss excuses himself, and quickly the entire chamber is consumed in flames. The queen rushes to the window and sees Griffith standing below. He tells her that the poison Foss gave him was one that temporarily stopped his heart, but even a little thing like death couldn't stop Griffith from reaching his dream. It turns out Griffith coerced Foss into sabotaging the assassination plot by telling them that if he used the real poison, Guts would hunt him down to the ends of the earth. The queen and her cronies burn to death in their own castle. Ouch!
I suppose you're all used to sitting off to the side and thinking up your little plots. But this is war.
Griffith lets Foss go, but he has Guts kill every other person with any knowledge of the whole affair, including the men they paid to start the fire. Griffith asks Guts if he resents him for always making Guts do his dirty work, but Guts says that dirty work is basically the only thing he's good for. Griffith returns to the Falcons alive, and they surround him in tears. Time goes by, and eventually Guts is ready to make his exit from the Falcons. He sneaks out in the dead of night, but Casca catches him leaving.
Picture-in-picture mode.
And runs after him. She tells him that Griffith is closer to
I don't have a second monitor right now,
his
so
dream than ever, and begs him to stay. But Guts responds that the weight of Griffith's dream is crushing him, and it takes a lot to crush a guy this big. Episode 19, Separation. I guess he decided to stay for one more night, because the next episode starts with Guts saying his goodbyes to Corcus and Judo. Corcus is his usual petty self and says that if they ever meet on the battlefield again, Guts had better watch his back. Yeah, sure, bud. We're all so scared. Judo asks Guts if his leaving has anything to do with his feelings for Casca. Shocked, Guts replies that everyone knows Casca is in love with Griffith, but Judo says Griffith is so obsessed with his dream that he will never have space for a normal relationship. That's not why Guts is leaving, though. He respects Griffith so greatly that he wants to find his own dream and finally be able to call the man his friend and equal. Right as he's about to leave, Griffith draws his sword and reiterates that Guts belongs to him. If Guts wants to leave, he'll have to beat Griffith in a fight, same as before. Instead of just explaining to Griffith that he's doing this so they can be friends, Guts agrees, and the two face off. In a single strike, Guts shatters Griffith's sword and says farewell to his former leader. Griffith is shaken by the sudden departure of his right-hand man and starts acting way out of character.
Now!
He brazenly climbs through Princess Charlotte's window that night and sleeps with her in an attempt to create a royal heir, or maybe just to distract himself. As he is leaving the next morning, Griffith is arrested by royal guards who were alerted by a maid that witnessed Griffith sneaking in. See, back then, sleeping with a princess that you weren't married to was sort of a big no-no. And just like that, a single moment of weakness from Griffith accomplishes what all the conniving nobles couldn't. Straight to horny jail with him! Episode 20, Sparks. A year goes by, and Guts is now living in the woods with the blacksmith Godo and his granddaughter Erica. He also joins the occasional combat festival to make some money and keep his skills sharp. I wonder if the manga includes an explanation on how Guts met these kind folks, because the anime sure doesn't. One day, a man comes to Godo's shack asking for weapons to hunt down a group of bandits that have been causing trouble. A group that sounds very familiar to Guts, because they're still operating under the same name. Times have been tough for the Band of the Falcon. After Griffith's arrest, they were exiled from Midland, and now they're forced to resort to petty thievery. Feels like an overreaction to exile all the people that single-handedly ended a war and saved the kingdom. I mean, geez, it's not their fault what Griffith did. Elsewhere, Casca and Judo have just learned that Griffith is being held and tortured in the lowest level of the dungeon underneath Midland's castle. Right as they start to plan a rescue mission, they are attacked by another group of mercenaries hired to hunt them down. As their camp starts to go up in flames, they are saved by the sudden appearance of Guts. Our guy just couldn't stay away for long. Episode 21, Confession. Guts inspires the Falcons to stand strong against these mercenaries, and it certainly doesn't hurt that Guts can take on half of them by himself. They drive the mercs off, and everyone is giddy to see their old commander back, except Corcus, who is still an asshole. When they brief Guts on everything that happened, he can't help but feel a little guilty that his departure triggered Griffith's downfall. Deep in the dungeon, a jailer tortures Griffith by jabbing needles in his side and branding him with burning metal. Griffith just stares ahead blankly, not reacting until the jailer grabs his Bayret and throws it into a metal grate. Seems like his Egg of the King wasn't enough to get him out of trouble this time. Casca and Guts talk alone by a waterfall, and she immediately starts swinging her sword at him. She blames him for everything that has happened to the Falcons, but when Guts stops blocking her attacks and takes a stab in the arm, she falls to her knees. She understands why Guts had to leave, but the burden of leading the Falcons over the last year has been too severe, and she couldn't help but resent Guts for leaving her alone.
No way. Why didn't you block that?
Casca throws herself off a cliff, but a wounded Guts grabs her and pulls her back up. Casca thanks Guts for always protecting her, and she kisses him. The two then share a night together by the waterfall. Neither of these two warriors have much experience in the arena of love, but they seem to figure it out all right. When the sun rises, Casca asks Guts to rejoin the Falcons and help rescue Griffith. He agrees to join the rescue mission, but nothing more. He asks Casca to leave with him after they get their leader back, and they share another kiss. We then see Griffith's Bayret floating down a river, when it finally reaches a young hobbit named Smeagol. No, I'm just kidding. It mostly seems to just spook some birds. The Falcon then form a rescue team and set out for their grand return to Midland. Episode 22, Infiltration. Who does—
Yo, what's up, Tiger? What do you mean, holy crap? What's going on?
Doesn't love a good old-fashioned prison break? Guts, Casca, Judo, and Pippin enter a sewer grate in a cemetery and make their way towards their leader. Terrible timing for the band's strongest members to be away, though, as back at camp, the Falcons are attacked by a horde of terrifying monsters. Rickard watches in horror as mercenaries all around him are devoured one by one. The rescue attempt, on the other hand, is going great, thanks to some assistance from Princess Charlotte, who still loves Griffith. In his cell, Griffith is a husk of his former self. He curses Guts for leaving him and is furious with himself upon realizing how much power a single swordsman has over him. They find Griffith completely emaciated and with his tongue cut out, leaving him unable to walk or speak. He weakly reaches up to try and strangle Guts, but Guts mistakes this as a gesture of affection and hugs Griffith. The jailer returns and locks everyone in the cell, taunting them by describing how he tortured Griffith.
Save your strength. This door is 4 times as thick as you might expect.
Dang, should have made it 5 times as thick. Guts climbs the tower, slicing through guards and clearing the way for the other Falcons carrying Griffith. They make their way back to camp unaware of what tragedy awaits them. Episode 23, Eve of the Feast. The Falcons ride towards camp while fighting off pursuing soldiers. One of the pursuers manages to get hold of Griffith and taunts the Falcons by displaying their leader's mutilated body and saying he will never be a leader again. Guts kills the guy and they all escape, but deep down they know his words are true. They still haven't met up with the rest of the band, you know, the ones that were attacked by monsters, but morale is already quite low. Guts again asks Casca to leave with him, but she believes it is her responsibility to stay with Griffith and care for him. The rest of the mercenaries ask Guts if they can come with him though, because without Griffith, Guts is the best substitute leader they could ask for. For the first time, Guts starts to feel a purpose, one that isn't tied to the goals of another man. All right, a happy ending! Griffith overhears Casca saying that he is the only thing standing between her and leaving, and for once, he makes the selfless choice to leave and free her of her burden.
Griffith, who used to be so proud and confident now, he's so small and frail.
He steals a wagon and rides off, with Guts and the others following closely as soon as they notice him missing. Griffith's wagon crashes, and he has a dream where he's healed, living in peace with Casca as his wife and a son named Guts. When he wakes up, his ruined body is lying in a creek. He's about to end his own life, but the guy's devilish luck isn't out yet. He finds his old Bayret in the water and lifts it up. As Guts races towards Griffith, the band realizes they are in the midst of a total solar eclipse. Suddenly, Griffith is surrounded by dozens of demonic creatures, and the second that Guts reaches his old leader, the Bayret opens its eyes, and the landscape around them is transformed into a nightmarish hellscape. Episode 24, Eclipse. Guts helps Griffith to his feet, while the rest of the Falcons struggle to comprehend the scene around them. 4 enormous figures appear in the sky. They are the God Hand, a group of demons that were each once the owner of the Crimson Bayret.
Commander, if I'm not mistaken, weren't we just riding across a grassy plain? Or were we all dreaming the same dream about a grassy plain?
The largest demon announces that Griffith is the chosen one, who will lead these 4 brothers in their campaign of destruction. Guts shouts back that a man like Griffith would never lead such disgusting creatures, but the demons just laugh. They say that the band of the Falcon will make a fine sacrifice to fuel Griffith's ascension to godhood. The only thing Griffith has to do to accept this divine promotion is to will it. An enormous hand made of screaming faces then shoots up into the sky, taking Guts and Griffith with it. The God Hand tells Griffith to accept his destiny, as this is the path he has been on his entire life. Griffith denies it, but they insist that a part of him has always known he would have to sacrifice everything to gain power, and he's come too far to turn back now.
The cobblestones that have paved your chosen path are those skulls and bones of the dead whom you used.
Guts climbs to the top of the pillar and shouts at Griffith to stop, but Griffith now only sees Guts as a distraction from his true purpose. Griffith's desire to rule is overwhelming, and he accepts the offer. Tendrils of light shoot out of the God Hand, and every member of the band of the Falcon is marked with a glowing red brand. Episode 25, Time of Eternity. Griffith is encased in a demonic cocoon, and Guts tries desperately to free him, refusing to accept that this could be Griffith's will. Meanwhile, the band of the Falcon fights back against demons, attacking and devouring them. Judo grabs a stunned Casca and urges her to never give up. It is all sadly in vain though, because soon, Pippin, Judo, and even Corcus are all slaughtered. Guts refuses to give in, and continues to rip and tear every demon in his path. In the distance, he sees Casca, her clothes now torn off by demons. Guts rushes towards her, but his sword snaps and his left arm is trapped in the jaws of a massive beast. At that moment, Griffith is reborn as the Falcon of Darkness, Femto. He begins to grope Casca in front of Guts, who struggles to free himself. He hacks through his own arm with his broken blade, but is held down by more demons and forced to watch as his beloved Casca is horribly violated. He screams out in pain and rage, entirely helpless. Then, in a post-credit scene, we get another look at Guts, who has now become the Black Swordsman. He picks up his Dragon Slayer sword from Godo and vows revenge on the man he once considered a friend. That brings us to the end of the 1997 series. And I gotta say, I understand why it took 20 years before we got more episodes of this story. I know I would need a serious mental health break after animating that last episode. Also, if you're wondering what happened to Rickert and why they were attacked by monsters before the eclipse even started, the anime doesn't really provide any answers, but the manga does provide more details, so check that out if you're able. In the meantime, let's move on to Berserk 2016, which is a continuation of the 1997 anime adaptation. In the first episode, we pick up right where we left off, with a band of knights discovering the grisly aftermath of the Eclipse Massacre. Elsewhere, a witch remarks that the Falcon of Darkness prophecy has been fulfilled, and the Dark Age of Man has begun. And yeah, we're in full ugly CGI territory now. Hooray! Then we see a scene very similar to the opening scene from the old season, with a few differences. Guts, now transformed into the Black Swordsman, strolls into a tavern and beats up some bandits, but instead of saving a young girl, this time it is a cheery elf named Puck. Puck is clearly a fairy, but in this world they call tiny winged creatures elves. Go figure. Puck follows Guts back to his camp in the forest and tries to warn him that bandits lurk in the forest, but Guts says he can protect himself and tells this annoying elf to buzz off. Later, while Guts is walking through the forest and still being followed by Puck, an old man driving a wagon with his daughter offers them a ride. At first, Guts declines, saying he is possessed by evil spirits and will only bring them trouble, but the old man insists and Guts climbs aboard. The old man introduces himself as Adolf and his daughter, Colette. They show Guts a lot of kindness, but he's not exactly looking for friends these days and just goes to sleep in the back of the wagon. Guts is tortured by nightmares of the eclipse and his fellow Falcons being slaughtered. He hears the voices of the God Hand telling him he will never be free. Guts wakes up just in time to kill an evil spirit that was about to jump on his face. Guts tells his fellow travelers that more spirits are coming and they should stay in the wagon. But sadly, it's too late, as Colette is killed by a skeleton army that rises from the ground. Maybe you should have refused that wagon ride just a little harder, Guts. The Black Swordsman starts taking out the evil spirits, but Colette rises from the dead and decapitates her own father before stabbing Guts. He hesitates to hurt this child, but she's not really leaving him much choice, and Guts is forced to strike her down. He then spends the entire night battling demons in the forest. I guess that's sort of his whole thing now. In the morning, Puck tries to console Guts and tells him that the tragedy wasn't his fault. He agrees immediately, saying that Adolf and Colette's death were their fault for being too weak, and he does not have time to worry about weaklings like them. A pretty disturbing thing to hear, but Puck decides to keep following Guts anyway. Just then, a group of knights being led by a blonde-haired woman surround Guts and announces that they've been searching for the Black Swordsman. The next episode starts, and we learn that these are the Holy Iron Chain Knights, a military group that represents the official religion of Midland, the Church of the Holy See. They believe that Guts himself is the Falcon of Darkness and try to place him under arrest. Guts has a flashback to when he and Casca were surrounded by knights in the forest, a simpler time when his life was still hand-drawn. The Holy Iron Chain Knights are mostly all children of nobility who never expected to see a real fight, so Guts has no trouble with them. However, he is still exhausted from fighting all night and gets overpowered by the one knight with actual combat experience, Azon. Guts tries to flee but collapses at the feet of their blonde commander, Farnese. The knights all congratulate their commander for being the one to capture the Black Swordsman, but Farnese is a noblewoman who has never even been in a fight before and just got real lucky. The Iron Chain Knights take Guts back to their camp where Farnese interrogates him. She asks him what happened to the Band of the Falcon and if he was responsible for the Eclipse massacre. She also asks about a mysterious item in his possession, Griffith's Bayrit, which has now turned a dull gray. In reply, Guts just mocks Farnese's religious devotion and stands motionless as she whips him. Guts is sitting in a cage, worried that as soon as night falls, more demons will attack him, when Puck brings him the keys. Guts retrieves his sword and takes a topless Farnese hostage to escape the camp. Let the girl put a shirt on at least, God! Puck tries to apologize to Farnese for the rough treatment, but for some reason she seems hostage to escape the camp. Let the girl put a shirt on at least, God! Puck tries to apologize to Farnese for the rough treatment, but for some reason she seems unable to see elves. The group is pursued by Farnese's illegitimate half-brother, Sir Pico, but being anywhere near Guts when the sun sets is not the best idea these days. All around them, evil spirits again start to emerge. As the next episode
Alright, why do you have to
starts,
go?
the evil spirits spook Serpico's horse as he gets thrown off.
See ya, bro.
Guts slashes at the demons all around him, which Farnese can't see either. Apparently, she is so close-minded and serious about her own religion that she can't even see things that don't align with it. This girl needs to loosen up a bit. Then, they are attacked by a horde of vicious hounds, which Farnese can see because it's pretty hard to not believe in a rabid dog that's about to bite you. They seek refuge in an abandoned mansion, while Serpico relentlessly follows their trail. The hounds break down the door, and Guts continues fighting them while Farnese flees deeper into the mansion. She comes across a creepy old man who tells her that he is the hounds' master. When she asks where the mansion's owner is, he replies that he ate him. The old creep transforms into a giant hound-like demon and reveals that he is an apostle, a servant of the God Hand that causes chaos and bloodshed in their name. Guts begins battling the apostle, but he's a tough customer, and Guts is still not in top fighting form. Puck notices a portrait on the wall of a young girl and figures out that she must have been the apostle's sacrifice to the God Hand. Puck asks the demon if he feels any guilt for sacrificing an innocent girl, and this Guts begins battling the apostle, but he's a tough customer, and Guts is still not in top fighting form. Puck notices a portrait on the wall of a young girl and figures out that she must have been the apostle's sacrifice to the God Hand. Puck asks the demon if he feels any guilt for sacrificing an innocent girl, and this distracts him just long enough for Guts to get in a fatal blow. Farnese uses this opportunity to try and escape, but she runs into a horse that has been possessed by an evil spirit. When Guts sees the horse demon standing over Farnese and licking her body, he is reminded of what happened to Casca and snaps. He beheads the evil horse and nearly kills Farnese as well. The night isn't over yet, however, as another evil spirit possesses Farnese and reveals to Guts her deepest secret. She's into... Wait, really? That's it? Okay. The sun rises, and with it, all the evil spirits dissipate. They head outside, and Guts returns a shaken Farnese to Serpico, who knows Guts would eat him for breakfast if they fought, and lets him go. And Farnese finally finds a shirt to put on. Over in the kingdom's capital, the king of Midland is now a decrepit old man, with his kingdom in utter chaos. On his deathbed, he asks for Princess Charlotte to be brought to him, but she refuses to leave her room. I guess she still holds a grudge for him locking up her boo. The king has a vision of a white falcon descending to save his kingdom, and then he dies. On a hill in the distance, an invading army looks upon the kingdom of Midland. Our next episode starts with Guts having another nightmare. In this one, Casca is being burned at the stake by an angry mob from the Church of the Holy See. Guts wakes up and sees a deformed demon baby who warns him that Casca is in danger. Huh? Well, it seems like this is one of those cases where the anime left out a lot of scenes from the manga that would have helped it to make a lot more sense. Apparently, Casca survived the eclipse and has been living with Godo and Erika, as well as Rickert, who also survived and has become Godo's apprentice. We also learn that prior to the eclipse, Casca was pregnant with Guts' baby, but when Griffith violated her, he corrupted the fetus and turned it into the demon baby that Guts just saw. This makes the baby an offspring of Casca, Guts, and Griffith's Dark Angel form. Not the ideal baby daddies. After all this, Casca was left severely traumatized, so much so that she lost her memories and reverted to an infantile mental state. Anyway, Guts returns to Godo's workshop and Rickert tells him that Casca wandered off a month ago. Godo blames Guts for leaving them to seek vengeance instead of staying and taking care of his broken friends. Rickert shows Guts a memorial he made for the Band of the Falcon by plunging all of their weapons into a hillside.
No, you can't understand.
You've lived a normal life, and now you're 1 foot away from the grave with your obligations already laid to rest. This makes Guts realize that his bloody quest for revenge hasn't helped anyone but himself, and he resolves to find Casca. After they've repaired his Dragon Slayer sword and mechanical arm, Guts sets out for the town of Albion, the place he saw in his dream where Casca was burned alive. Puck stays by Guts' side, because I guess he doesn't have anything better to do. Meanwhile, the Holy Iron Chains are also headed to Albion. They are escorting the Grand Inquisitor Mozgus, a man who sadistically punishes anyone who rejects the beliefs of the Holy See. The capital of Midland has already been conquered by the Kushans, the army that we saw at the end of the last episode, and everyone is fleeing to Albion for refuge. The Knights' caravan is then ambushed by rebels who hate Father Mozgus, who killed their families just on the suspicion that they might be heretics. Mozgus' personal bodyguards, the Inquisitors, are as effective as they are creepy, and they quickly capture the rebels. Father Mozgus immediately sentences them all to death and binds them to wagon wheels before breaking their bones one by one. The crowd of refugees watches this brutal display, and among them is a drooling Casca, who doesn't seem to even understand where she is. A woman helps Casca away from the brutal executions and introduces herself as Luca. The next episode kicks off in a village on the way to Albion, where a young thief named Isidoro gets his stolen food stolen by bandits. Just a regular case of karma. As they chow down on his grub right in front of him, Isidoro reveals that he poisoned the food as a trap and slaps the weakened bandits around with some sausage links. Unfortunately for him, the bandits' friends are right around the corner. Unfortunately for them, a horde of Kushan soldiers have slowly been surrounding them all. And unfortunately for the Kushan soldiers, Guts is also nearby. That's the circle of life for you. After Guts is done doing what he does best, Isidoro is the only one left standing. The young boy finds Guts to be so badass that he decides to follow him around just like Puck. Guts is building quite the entourage.
Well, that worked out well. I didn't expect to test my blade so soon.
As they chow down on his grub right in front of him, Isidoro reveals that he poisoned the food as a trap and slaps the weakened bandits around with some sausage links. Unfortunately for him, the bandits' friends are right around the corner. Unfortunately for them, a horde of Kushan soldiers have slowly been surrounding them all. And unfortunately for the Kushan soldiers, Guts is also nearby. That's the circle of life for you. After Guts is done doing what he does best, Isidoro is the only one left standing. The young boy finds Guts to be so badass that he decides to follow him around just like Puck. Guts is building quite the entourage.
Well, that worked out well. I didn't expect to test my blade so soon.
As they arrive in the city of Albion, the Iron Chain Knights encounter a group of poor, starving beggars who are barred entry to the city. They swarm the Knights' convoy to try and steal food, but are captured by Farnace's men. One of the beggars is a woman carrying a starving baby, and Father Mozgus decrees that they should all be allowed into the city. Maybe he's not so bad after all. On second thought, Mozgus orders to have all the beggars tortured just because he thinks they are naturally sinners. Oh, so definitely not a good dude. Farnace is conflicted, but continues following Mozgus' orders anyway. Meanwhile, Luca, the woman who was helping Casca, is revealed to be a worker. She is currently exclusive to an Iron Chain Knight named Jerome. They're wrestling together in Luca's tent when Casca pokes her head in. Luca claims Casca is her sick, disabled sister called Elaine, and has her wrapped in bandages to hide the brand on her chest. This soldier boyfriend seems like a genuinely good guy though. He gives Luca a pearl necklace and promises to take care of her and Casca. One of the other workers named Nina brings Casca to a nearby river to bathe, but as the sun goes down, Casca's brand attracts evil spirits that begin to emerge from the ground. Isidoro is struggling to keep up with Guts. He tries to lift the Dragon Slayer while Guts is asleep, but the pipsqueak just gets himself pinned under its weight. Guts warns the boy to stay away from him, but nobody ever listens to that, do they? Soon, they are attacked by the wheel-bound spirits of the rebels who were executed by Mozgus. But Guts here is a Dark Souls strength build brought to life, and he chops through these wheel demons really easily. Yeah, I'm so sorry. Our next episode starts, and the reanimated corpses start shambling towards Casca and Nina, but they are stopped by Casca's demon baby. The baby pacifies the evil spirits with a single look, and they depart from the corpses they possessed. Casca sees her own monstrous child, but gets dragged away by Nina, who is completely oblivious to all of this. Once Guts is finished destroying the wheel monsters, he encounters a strange figure on horseback known as the Skull Knight. It's not the first time they've met, since the Skull Knight was actually the one who rescued Guts and Casca from the Eclipse ritual. A super important scene that both versions of the anime decided not to include for some reason. The Skull Knight warns Guts that the God Hand are planning to use the immense concentration of fear and anguish in Albion to fuel another ritual. This time, it'll be the Incarnation ceremony, and if they complete this ritual, it will allow Griffith to regain a corporeal form. The Skull Knight tells Guts there's no way to avoid this fate, but that's certainly not going to stop Guts from trying. In Albion, Farnese can't stop seeing the faces of the tortured beggars, and decides to ask Father Mozgus if his methods are really necessary. On the way, she sees Mozgus' Inquisitors playfully feeding some birds. One of them tells Farnese that they were all outcasts who Father Mozgus took in, and while they don't enjoy torture personally, they do it out of a deep sense of gratitude.
Please watch this. I have a rare skin disease.
The Inquisitor brings her in to see Mozgus, who is smashing his giant head against the ground as a form of prayer. Yikes! Farnese asks the Grand Inquisitor if maybe having mercy on people wouldn't make them more receptive to the whole forced religion thing. But Mozgus says their duty is to punish non-believers, no matter how unpleasant the task may be. I don't know, I'm thinking this guy is for sure taking pleasure in it. After this, Nina invites one of her customers named Joachim to come to a party with her down by the river. Sounds fun, right? But when they get there, Joachim is horrified to find this party is actually a giant complete with a terrifying goat-headed priest. He tries to flee, but is pushed off. He is actually a giant complete with a terrifying goat-headed priest. He tries to flee, but is pushed off a cliff by the cultists. It turns out Luca had followed the couple here and is watching all of this from a distance. She chastises Nina and gives her a good spanking for getting involved with such a shady crowd. What the hell even is this show? We then see Casca, who followed Luca from their camp and is about to get attacked by the cultists, when, once again, her brand summons evil spirits. The cultists get possessed and start devouring one another, before that adorable demon baby appears again and exorcises them all. Oh, look at him. The surviving cultists bow down to Casca and call her a great witch. Below them, a shadowy figure looks at the body of Joachim, who is still alive. Episode 7. Back in their camp, Casca is the most popular girl in town, as cultists keep bringing gold and jewelry as an offering to their new witchy queen. Nina, despite the fact that this is sorta all her fault, suggests that they abandon Casca, but Luca is too kind-hearted to even consider such nonsense. Just then, someone enters their tent to tell Luca that another girl named Pepe has been taken by the Inquisition. Luca rushes after them and defends Pepe, who is surprisingly not a frog. Luca is about to get whipped for intervening when Guts appears right on time. He bisects the Iron Chain Knights while Isidoro frees the prisoners and Puck heals them with elf magic. Turns out these three make a pretty good team. Luca overhears Guts asking the knights if they've seen a woman with a brand on her chest, and she tells him the woman he's looking for is in her tent at that very moment. Finally, a happy reunion. But of course, it's never that easy, and when they get back to the tent, Casca and Nina are missing. Nina ran off with Casca out of fear of the Inquisition, but the two don't make it far before running into a group of cultists. Isidoro and Puck spot the cultists returning to their hideout, but instead of telling Guts about it, they decide to follow them on their own to prove their worth. Yeah, Guts will be really impressed that you saw Casca and said nothing about it. Brilliant move, guys.
So you want Guts to mentor you?
You don't get it. I'm not gonna suck up to someone just to get them to teach me stuff.
They realize their mistake immediately, as the naked cultists plan to cut out Nina's heart and forcibly marry Casca to their goat priest. Isidoro starts chucking rocks down at the cultists while Puck flies back to get Guts. A rock-solid plan, but the sun is setting, and you know what that means. Wacky evil spirit fun time! Meanwhile, Joaquin managed to get back to town and told Farnese about the cultists' hideout. He leads her and the Iron Chain Knights down to their coven, but they find the cultists to all be possessed and bloodthirsty. Isidoro tries to make an escape with Nina and Casca, while the cultists clash with the knights, but their path is blocked by the goat priest, now transformed into a massive beast. The goat monster grabs Casca and, once again is about to violate her with this disgusting snake thingy. Give her a damn break! Fortunately, Guts arrives just in time and slices through a dozen possessed cultists with a single spin attack. Hell yeah! Now it's time for a happy reunion! As the next episode begins, the Holy Iron Chain Knights are benched and forced to watch from the sidelines while Guts does their job for them. He tells his trusty sidekicks to take Casca and Nina to safety while he finishes his business here. The goat monster reveals itself to be another apostle and bounces around the cavern with incredible speed. Guts is able to stun the beast with miniature bombs that Rickert made for him and beheads the apostle. Isidoro and Puck lead the girls to safety along a very unsafe narrow cliff. Guts tries to follow, but his path is blocked by Serpico. He's pissed, and to be fair, Guts did chop some of his fellow knights in half earlier. The narrow terrain means Guts is unable to utilize his greatsword, and Serpico is a surprisingly agile duelist. Of course, he's still no match for Guts, and our guy just straight up shatters Serpico's sword with his mechanical hand.
Tell me, are you worried about those girls? My comrades were waiting for them up ahead.
Serpico barely escapes by using Guts' mini-bombs against him. This might genuinely be the best a human has ever done in a duel with Guts, besides Griffith, of course. Isidoro returns to Guts alone and tells him the Iron Chain Knights have captured Casca and Nina. Guts is enraged, but manages to calm himself down enough to not kick this pipsqueak's scrawny ass. He wastes no time and heads straight for the Inquisition's headquarters, the Tower of Conviction. As they approach the tower, the jailer leads Nina to a horrific torture chamber, and the brand on Guts' neck begins to throb. In the next episode, Nina caves before they can even start torturing her, and immediately blabs that Casca is a witch. Damn, she folded faster than a lawn chair! Father Mazgus summons Casca to his torture chamber and puts her inside an Iron Maiden. The second it closes on her, the spirits of everyone who has died in the torture chamber emerge, and they possess the gore and guts around the room to create a giant bloody blob. So that's how it is. Luca and her soldier boyfriend, Jerome, help Guts sneak into the Tower of Conviction. He finds Farnese and demands she take him to the torture chamber. Meanwhile, Isidoro, Luca, and Jerome rescue Nina. The giant blob continues to spread through the tower, attacking everyone while Casca chills inside a blood cocoon with her demon baby.
Hey kid, what are you doing?
Get moving! That way!
A little diversion, part of the plan. We'll use them as bait for the guards while we get away.
Turns out Mazgus isn't just talk, and he uses some serious fire magic to incinerate the blob and pull out Casca's body. This guy is terrifying. His Inquisitors are beasts as well, and one starts swinging a massive ball and chain at Isidoro's group. Luca is knocked off the tower and is caught by Nina, but Luca lets go to make sure Nina doesn't get pulled off. She plummets to her demise, but gets caught by the Skull Knight. For such a scary sounding name, this Skull Knight seems like a really good guy. Guts arrives to battle Mazgus, but he and his Inquisitors all sprout wings and start flying around the tower. 7-on-1 is a little too much even for Guts, but when he sees Casca laying behind the enemies, he grips his greatsword even tighter and steals himself. Episode 10 starts with the Skull Knight getting attacked by an egg-shaped creature that snatches up Luca and rolls off. When Luca wakes up, she is in a ritual ground littered with candles and corpses. The egg tells her that it was once a human, outcast by society and forced to live in a garbage dump that later became a mass grave. Crushed by piles of bodies and on the brink of death, the man miraculously found a Beyrit and became an apostle of the God Hand. He was reborn as the egg of the perfect world, destined to serve as the catalyst for Griffith's physical rebirth. Guts keeps struggling against the brutal Inquisitors. Isidoro leaps onto Mazgus' back as he flies off with Casca, and Guts is able to use his arm cannon and mini-bombs to come out in a narrow victory. The tower starts to shake, and all around it, chaos begins to erupt. In the refugee camp, evil spirits begin possessing people, causing them to attack one another, and massive fires break out across the tents, forming the same shape as Guts' and Casca's brands. Mazgus plucks Isidoro off his back. He then swoops down and uses his fire breath to drive back the demons. He commands everyone to bow before him and the power God has granted him. He blames everything happening on Casca and says as soon as they burn her at the stake, everything will be just fine. Which, technically, he might not be wrong about. Everyone kneels to Mazgus. Say what you will about this sadistic monster, but he does know how to work a crowd. Guts looks out at a scene horribly similar to the eclipse from years before. He sees Casca being placed onto a pyre and races towards her to prevent history from repeating itself. In the next episode, the egg of the perfect world climbs the Tower of Conviction, excited to reach the top to be reborn into Griffith's physical body. As it ascends, the egg encounters the demon baby asleep and puts the child into its mouth. That's bad. I really don't have any idea. Guts sees the apostle climbing the tower and wants to stop it, but first, he's got a more pressing issue. As crazed townsfolk begin throwing torches at Casca, Isidoro uses a makeshift bungee jump to dive down and save her. Ooh, okay, I kinda love this kid now. Father Mazgus swoops towards them, but Guts leaps down and impales the priest with the Dragon Slayer. Mazgus only gets angrier and transforms into a giant stone creature with skin too tough for even the Dragon Slayer. That just means he needs to get a little more creative. He shoves his greatsword in Mazgus' mouth and throws a dagger in his eye. I love that he's not just a complete berserker. Guts is a real trickster too. Isidoro, Puck, and Jerome are holding their own as well, and they team up to kill Mazgus' 2 remaining Inquisitors. Father Mazgus is enraged by his plan falling apart and pounds Guts with a flurry of blows. Just as he's about to launch a fatal flame breath attack, the sly dog Guts reveals that he let himself get hit to plant a mini-bomb inside a crack on Mazgus' armor, blowing the bastard to bits.
When you see God, tell him this. Leave me the hell alone!
God damn, that's a cold line! Unfortunately, as horribly evil as Mazgus was, he wasn't really wrong. Casca is still alive, and the giant corpse blob continues expanding and slaughtering innocent people. The fleeing refugees shout up to Isidoro and Jerome and beg them to kill Casca, but they're not even thinking about it now that Guts has finally reunited with his girl. As the egg nears the top of the tower and the blob consumes everything, Guts and his party, along with Farnese and Serpico, all light torches to keep the monster at bay until sunrise. Guts vows that this time, he will protect them all. The season finale kicks off with Nina, who decided that everything happening up on the castle wall was too scary for her, and she jumped down below. She's not the bravest or the brightest. She's about to get run over by a stampede of fleeing citizens, but she is saved by Luca at the last second. Okay, Luca is honestly way too good for this terrible world. She seals Nina in a barrel and defends it with her body as the blob approaches. The blob forms a massive hand that shoots into the sky, toppling the Tower of Conviction and clutching the egg apostle in its massive grip. The egg cracks, and the demon baby within it begins to grow into a young man with white hair. The brand on Guts' neck begins searing with pain, and he instantly knows that his mortal enemy is back. Finally, the day breaks and the sunlight burns away the evil spirits. The whole group has managed to survive, even Luca, who hid herself in a well. Thank God! Their reunion is extremely short-lived, however, as they are instantly ambushed by a group of Kushan soldiers. Guts and Serpico do their best to fight off these sudden ninjas, who are aided by Azon, the Iron Chain Knight who managed to survive the tower's collapse as well. As if this wasn't chaotic enough already, an old friend suddenly bursts through the nearby rubble, Zod the Immortal in his huge Minotaur form. And things are about to go from very bad to very worse.
Zod, why is he here?
Every single person suddenly stops fighting and is transfixed by the appearance of a white-haired man. Griffith has returned, and Zod bolts forward to kneel by the side of his new master. Guts wants to run right to Griffith with his sword drawn, but hearing Casca stops him in his tracks. He decides protecting her is more important than getting revenge, and the group makes an escape as Zod flies off with Griffith. Luca meets up with the other girls from her camp, who were some of the only people that survived the whole thing. Luca leads them in paying their respects to the dead, including the Egg Apostle, whose suffering Luca recognized. Farnese looks out at all the destruction, and starts to realize how she used her intense faith as a way to avoid the truth, that she was just a scared little girl who didn't want to be committing the atrocities she was forced to commit. She throws away her Iron Chain Knight armor and renounces her faith, deciding to, instead, follow Guts with Serpico at her side. On a cliff in the distance, the Skull Knight observes the ruined city and remarks that the reappearance of Griffith will cause a chain of events that will change the nature of the world itself. By the way, we don't actually get to know the full story of this Skull Knight dude, except that he hates the God Hand and basically anything evil. Oh, and he looks freaking badass too, which is just awesome in and of itself. Our first episode of Season 2 starts off in a spooky forest, where an ancient monster awakes from its slumber. Hopefully it's one of those nice ancient monsters. Maybe? Anyway, Guts has gathered quite the merry band of misfits, but he's not about that life, and the guy pretty much ditches everyone except Casca and Puck. They return to Godo's hut, where Erica tells them the tragic news that the blacksmith has passed away from old age while they were gone. No! Who's gonna make the ridiculously giant swords for Guts now? Erica asks Guts and Casca to move back in with her, and Guts agrees. But then, Guts tells Puck that he's not sure he can keep the promise, because now that Griffith is back on Earth, his quest for revenge doesn't seem so pointless. And he won't have to wait long, because Erica tells him that Rickard is up on the Hill of Swords, talking to an old friend from the Band of the Falcon. Guts snaps and dashes to the memorial for the fallen Falcons. When he arrives, he sees Rickard and Griffith just having a casual chat. Rickard was never told the truth about what happened during the eclipse, so to him, this is just a nice surprise from a friendly face. Guts follows with rage and beelines for Griffith, but Rickard jumps in the way and asks why Guts is attacking their old leader. Griffith tells Guts it's nice to see he hasn't changed and is still as reckless as ever. Griffith came here to see if he would feel guilt, remorse, or any kind of emotion at all upon seeing Guts and Casca, but he's proud to announce that no, he is still a heartless bastard.
You don't get it. This man isn't the Griffith you used to know anymore.
Guts attacks, but he is blocked by his old foe Zod. Guts has come a hell of a long way ever since their last fight, and the two trade lightning-quick blows as equals. But as always, things aren't hard enough for our poor Berserker, and Casca wanders into the fray. She really should just stay in the house for the rest of the series. Casca is nearly crushed by falling rocks that Zod sent tumbling down, but she is saved by Griffith. He reflects that the demon baby he was born from must have left residual feelings inside him that caused him to instinctively protect his mother. So, I guess Griffith is kind of his own dad? Ew, freaky. Griffith flies away on Zod's back, but as he leaves, he tells Rickard that he is free to join him. Fortunately, Lil Rickard isn't a monster, and when Guts finally tells the young mercenary the truth about what Griffith did, he's horrified. He asks Guts if he can help him track down and kill Griffith, but Guts doesn't want the boy to be a part of this horrible mission. Guts plans to set out on another lone wolf revenge quest, but the first step is bringing Casca to a more secure hiding place. Good call. Puck offers his home village as a good spot, and the three of them head out. Elsewhere, the Kushan army is terrorizing a village, demanding to see the White Falcon. They need terrorize no further, because Griffith rides right up to the leader of the Kushan on a white horse. Our next episode begins in the middle of a field. A young witch watches the encounter between Griffith and the Kushan through the eyes of the bird. I'm gonna go with perhaps. As they make camp for the night, Puck tells Guts about his homeland of Elfhelm, a beautiful, utopian elven paradise. Hard to believe that such a place could exist in this depressing-ass world. At night, Guts and Casca's brands continue to attract evil spirits that Guts must fight off all night. One of the spirits, a ghostly hound, tries to goad Guts into killing Casca so he can head back to what he really loves, seeking bloody vengeance. Guts isn't even tempted at all, and just keeps throwing knives at the spirits. Meanwhile, Farnese and Serpico are also out on a road seeking to rejoin Guts, and we learn a little bit more about their backstories. At first, Serpico was a poor child living in the slums of the holy city of Britannis. One day, he learned that he was the illegitimate son of an important nobleman. He met with his biological father, who agreed to grant Serpico nobility status as long as he kept things hush-hush on the whole illegitimate child thing. Serpico became Farnese's personal bodyguard, and the two half-siblings grew very close. Maybe a little too close. One day, Farnese was told that she is going to be married off to some douchey noble boy, and she went completely insane. First, she tried to seduce Serpico, and when he rejected her because they have the same dad, she burned their mansion to the ground. I wouldn't want to marry a stranger either, but damn girl!
I can't do it. I can't survive outside of this place. If you were to take me from here, Serpico, we could run away.
Realizing that her talents were more in the burning people alive category, her father appointed her to lead the Holy Iron Chain Knights. Serpico wasn't a fan of all of the heretic killing, but he stuck by his half-sister's side the whole way through. It doesn't really excuse all the horrific things they did, but hell. Guts manages to fend off the spirits until morning, but the confused Casca sees an enraged Guts and becomes terrified of him. When the exhausted Guts stops for a well-earned nap, she makes her escape. Are you serious? Just handcuff yourself to this slippery woman already. Casca runs right into a couple of scumbag bandits, and god damn it, they immediately begin to essay her. Fortunately this time, Guts doesn't have to save the day, because when he gets there, he finds that Casca has killed the two bandits all on her own. That's what I like to see. Is Casca starting to get back some of her old self finally? Well, she attacks Guts too as soon as he gets there, but progress is progress. After this, Farnese, Serpico, and my main man Isidoro have all caught up with their hero, the Black Swordsman. Farnese kneels at his side and asks if he will permit them to accompany him. Come on, Guts, you were born to lead. And to kill. A lot. But also to lead. We are back with Griffith in episode 3, and the Falcon of Light just strolls right up to the Kushan commander and skewers him. Kushan archers launch a volley of arrows at Griffith, but somehow every single one misses the mark. The Kushans are then wiped out by Griffith and his Band of the Falcon 2.0. Of course, you know Zod the Immortal, but we've also got an imposing horseman known as the Moonlight Knight Locus, a super creepy cloaked dude named Rakshas who was exiled from the Kushan, the giant Grunbeld, and finally the terrifying archer Irvine. Where does Griffith find such interesting people? What the hell? Anyway, Farnese is beseeching Guts to forgive her for almost getting Casca killed, and cuts her own hair in penance. Guts tells them that if they understand the risks and won't get in his way, they're free to follow him around to their heart's content. This band might not be anywhere close to Griffith's team in terms of raw power, but I tell you what, they've got a lot more heart. Speaking of Griffith's crew, over in Midland, a young army commander named Mule is about to hopelessly attack a much larger Kushan force. Just then, the new Band of the Falcons rides in to save the day. They decimate the Kushan soldiers and send them scurrying back where they came from.
They're firing volleys through their own soldiers.
Griffith's rude boys set up camp and invite nearby refugees to take food and shelter with them. Oh, cool. Okay, this is a pretty nice thing to do. But it doesn't count when Griffith does it, okay? A girl who serves Griffith shows Mule around the camp, first introducing him to the terrifying demon army of monstrous apostles, then bringing him to the big man himself. Griffith is praying and is able to literally summon the spirits of dead Midland soldiers so they can say goodbye to their families. Stop being so nice, you bastard! Griffith introduces him to Mule, and the boy immediately feels a deep sense of loyalty to Griffith. He holds his sword aloft and pledges eternal service in Griffith's name, which, you'll remember, didn't work out so well for the last Band of the Falcon. The next episode starts, and Guts' new band of warriors spend another night battling evil spirits. Farnese is completely useless in a fight, so she is appointed to be Casca's caretaker. Unfortunately, she even fails at that, and the next day, Casca runs off while Farnese is distracted by a rabbit. Casca herself manages to wander back to camp, but then Farnese gets lost in the woods and needs to be rescued by the others. Hard to believe this girl ever seriously led a group of knights. Isidoro trains with Guts, and while he's obviously no match for the big guy, Isidoro manages to impress him with some fancy dual wielding. Serpico lures Guts away from the camp to tell him that he'll kill Guts if anything happens to Farnese. People really need to learn to stop splitting up the group, because of course a giant reptilian troll shows up and kidnaps Farnese and Casca. Isidoro gives chase and tries to rescue them, but there are way too many trolls for little Izzy. They are narrowly saved by the sudden appearance of the young witch from a few episodes ago, who has an elf of her own. She creates a protective ward and drives off the trolls with a fire spell, before disappearing as quickly as she arrived. When Guts and Serpico come back, they find it a little hard to believe that the group encountered trolls and a witch. Considering all the crazy shit that they've seen, I'm not sure why this is where they draw the line. As they continue to travel, the group encounters an injured old man named Morgan. He tells them his village was also attacked by trolls, and he's searching for the witch's house to ask her for help. They soon find her sick tree mansion, but the witch's automatic defenses are activated and massive elemental golems form in front of them. Guts fights them off until the witch commands them all to stop and invites the squad into her home. The witch introduces herself as Shirka, but she is just an apprentice. Also living in the house is her master, an elderly woman named Flora. She smiles warmly at the group and tells Guts and Casca they are the branded pair she has been awaiting for a long, long time. In episode 5, the first order of business this witch has to deal with is the old guy whose village is being trolled. Flora says she is near the end of her life and no longer has the strength to leave her house, but Shirka will go in her place to fight off the trolls. Flora asks Guts' party to help her and promises that if they do, she will cast a magic spell to protect them from evil spirits. The idea of not having to spend every night tirelessly battling demons is pretty tempting, and Guts agrees right away. Before they leave, Flora and Shirka explain a little more about just how this world works. Apparently, all of existence is split into 3 planes: the physical plane, where they all reside; the astral plane, where supernatural beings like the God Hand live; and the realm of ideas, where all existence originated from. There used to be no barrier between the physical and astral planes, until the Church of the Holy See began spreading its doctrine and divided the two. Witches like Flora and Shirka push back against this division and explore a connection to the astral plane. Guts shows Flora the lifeless Beyret he's been carrying around all this time. She tells him that it is an evil object that will do him no good, and advises him to throw it away as soon as possible.
He told me that branded ones would be passing through the forest, guided by wee wings. He asked me to do what I could to aid them on their journey.
He asks if she has more information on the God Hand, but all she knows is they used to be human and they served a superior being who is shrouded in mystery. Just for good measure, Flora gives a couple of magic goodies to the party: a talisman that will prevent evil spirits from attacking for a few days, magic ointment that can increase sensitivity to the astral plane, and elemental weapons and armor. Isidoro gets a sick flame dagger, and Serpico gets a cloak and feather sword imbued with the wind spirits. Who would have thought this nice old lady had so much badass loot? She tries to give Guts a magic axe, but he turns it down. He's already got all the steel he needs. Armed with their new weapons and knowledge, the party sets off to rescue the people of Enoch Village. The next episode starts, and Guts' band reaches the village right after another troll attack. But not everyone is excited about the arrival of outsiders. A local priest. The next episode starts, and Guts' band reaches the village right after another troll attack. But not everyone is excited about the arrival of outsiders. A local priest of the Holy See rejects the group and says the troll attacks are a test from God that can only be overcome by prayer. Guts convinces the priest to let them stay by telling him Casca is a religious pilgrim looking for a cure to her addled mind. He can be so damn crafty when he wants to. Shirka gives a strand of her hair to each member of the band, which will allow them all to communicate with each other through telepathy. Lil Izzy is upset that a girl who seems to be his own age is proving herself to be much more useful than him, and he runs off to practice his sword swings. Isidoro, you will always be my number one. Not long after, 2 watchmen see a massive horde of trolls swarming the village and sound the alarm. The townsfolk all hurry to shelter themselves inside the village church, while Serpico and Isidoro fight off the trolls.
They're here.
The trolls are here. To the church!
But soon, they are surrounded, along with Casca and Farnese. The jerk of a priest brags that he was right and these travelers aren't helpful. Thankfully, though, Guts shuts him right up by carving a bloody path through the trolls. Shirka climbs onto the church roof and starts chanting a spell that will protect the village, but the priest is determined to mess everything up and tries to interrupt her incantation. The trolls just keep coming and swarm into the church. Isidoro is nearly killed by a troll, but is saved by Old Man Morgan, who takes the blow for him. Right as they're about to be completely overrun, Shirka finishes the ritual. A glowing elemental spirit appears that heals Morgan and burns all the trolls into ash. In the following episode, the relief is short-lived, as the village is immediately attacked by two much tougher beasts, a gargantuan troll and a kelpie that fires deadly water blasts. Shirka needs more time to prepare for another spell, and Guts is more than happy to oblige. He battles the ogre while Serpico takes on the water horse. Once again, we see pretty much the same thing as the last episode. They're being overwhelmed, Serpico is wounded, and just in the nick of time, Shirka finishes her spell. Blah, 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 blah. Can we get back to hunting Griffith soon? This time, Shirka goes for something with a little bit more flair to it, and allows herself to be possessed by the village's guardian spirit, the Lady of the Depths. She summons a massive tidal wave that floods the village and washes away the monsters. It's super effective! Shirka's connection to the spirit world is too powerful. Unfortunately, that also means she is unable to stop the spell, but Farnese snaps her out of it by rhythmically tapping a stick on the ground. I gotta say, all this magic stuff is a lot less interesting to me than a huge guy swinging a giant sword around. You'd think now that all the monsters are gone and Shirka is awake, that'd be the end of it. But no. Farnese and Casca fall off the church's roof and are washed away by the flood. It just wouldn't be an episode of Berserk if they didn't lose Casca. Shirka uses her magic to locate the girls and reports that they've been captured by the trolls. Shirka quickly teaches the townsfolk a simple spell that they can use to protect themselves, and even that annoying priest is into it now that he's just seen what the young witch is capable of. Old Man Morgan gives Isidoro a cool sword. Shouldn't Izzy be the one giving him a gift? Anyway, leaving an injured Serpico behind, the group ventures into the dark forest where the trolls reside. In the 8th episode, Casca and Farnese wake up inside the trolls' cave and see a large number of women who were taken from the village. We've seen some real messed up stuff so far, but fair warning, this scene just might take the cake. The trolls have kidnapped women from the village and are forcibly impregnating them to spawn more trolls. Farnese can't help but scream, and the trolls all notice their newly awakened victim has the dark forest where the trolls reside. In the 8th episode, Casca and Farnese wake up inside the trolls' cave and see a large number of women who were taken from the village. We've seen some real messed up stuff so far, but fair warning, this scene just might take the cake. The trolls have kidnapped women from the village and are forcibly impregnating them to spawn more trolls. Farnese can't help but scream, and the trolls all notice their newly awakened victims. Farnese is completely terrified, but manages to not be completely useless, and protects Casca as well as she can. Shirka still has a telepathic connection to the girls, and can immediately sense they are in danger. Guts forces ahead and bursts into the trolls' cave, looking to beat his previous record of 100 kills in one night. While Guts bisects these nasty little guys left and right, the others help all the villagers escape the cave. On her way out, Shirka senses an overwhelming presence from deeper in the cave. Guts' brand starts to react intensely, and the pile of dead trolls around Guts transforms into a mass of flesh. The flesh turns into Slan, a member of the God Hand that Guts instantly recognizes from the night of the eclipse. Shirka recognizes the immense threat Slan poses and starts preparing a spell to collapse the entire cave system.
But such a
No fucking way. No fucking way.
power also brings danger. If the power of the spirit proves to be too great for the caster, there's a likely chance it may swallow her whole.
The party all places their hope in Guts being able to escape before the spell activates. They probably wouldn't be so hopeful if they saw how things were going for the big guy. He is overpowered by Slan easily, and she rips off his armor with ease. Slan tries to get Guts to reject his humanity and become an apostle. When Mr. Convenient Plot Device himself, the Skull Knight, appears. Slan summons a horde of ogres that the Skull Knight battles, and while Slan is distracted, Guts blows a hole in her with his arm cannon. The Skull Knight tells Guts that his dragon's lair has been imbued by the spirits of the thousands it has slain, and is now powerful enough to hurt the God Hand. Guts impales his greatsword into Slan's body and destroys her physical form. Outside, Isidoro protects Shirka while she prepares her spell. He heroically stands between the trolls and the women, overcoming his fear enough to run headfirst into battle. With the sword from Morgan and his fire dagger, Izzy is able to overpower the biggest troll. Seriously, a lot of people in this world say they want to be like Guts, but this kid is the only one so far who can really back it up. Meanwhile, things are looking dire for Guts as the cave begins to collapse. But you know the Skull Knight always has a trick up his sleeve. He pulls out the Sword of Beirits, a weapon that he made from the melted remains of a bunch of Beirits that he swallowed. You know, just normal Skull Knight stuff. It has the power to cut a hole between dimensions and creates a portal that takes Guts to the entrance of the cave. Everyone is safe as the cave collapses completely, and the gang reunites happily. Knowing this show though, we've probably got about 10 seconds before something even worse happens. The next episode starts back at Flora's tree mansion, where she finishes creating powerful armor that will allow Guts to ward off evil spirits for the rest of the journey. She gets a visit from the Skull Knight. Wow, that guy's fast. And of course, the two of them are old friends. Just then, they both sense intruders approaching the mansion, and Skull Knight steps outside to handle business, so his friend can die peacefully of old age instead of being killed by terrifying monsters. Seriously, why does this dude look so scary when he's such an absolute gentleman? On their way back to Enoch Village, Guts suddenly collapses, and Shirka diagnoses that the battle with Slan left a deep wound on Guts' soul. They don't even know that Guts fought one of the God Hand, and Shirka is shocked when Guts tells her he was able to wound one. Shirka then senses that the mansion is under attack, and Guts' brand tells him it's the work of apostles. They arrive to find the tree mansion engulfed in flames, and Shirka rushes in to check on her master. Guts tells Isidoro and Serpico to stop her while he attacks the Apostle army responsible. He and the Skull Knight face off against this terrible group led by none other than Zod. The giant Grunbeld is there too, and he announces that he is now a commander in the Band of the Falcon, who are here on Griffith's orders. Now, hearing this monster claim that he is a member of the Falcons doesn't sit too well with old Gutsy.
Why are you here?
I have incredibly deep ties with the mistress of this mansion.
Deep ties?
He lunges at Grunbeld while the Skull Knight starts fighting Zod. Inside the mansion, Flora telepathically tells Shirka that it's too late to save her, and Shirka, Izzy, and Serpico need to bring the finished armor to Guts. Flora has accepted her fate and says that for magic users like her, death is not the end. The trio slays a couple apostles inside the mansion and make their way to the basement where the armor awaits. Guts is weakened from his fight with Slon and gets his ribs cracked by Grunbeld. And I don't think the old arm cannon trick is going to work, because Grunbeld has an arm cannon of his own. Guts is protected from a fatal blow by the golems that protect the mansion, but he is still knocked unconscious and sent flying into the mansion. Conveniently though, he lands right next to his three friends who start putting the Berserker armor onto him. 2 words. Bad ass. The second Guts awakens in the armor, he stops feeling any pain or fear, as all his emotions are overwhelmed by an immense rage. Guts lets out a mighty roar and finally gives in completely to his dark side. In the next episode, Guts keeps fighting Grunbeld, and the giant can't believe he's fighting the same guy as just moments ago. Despite his injuries, Guts is operating at peak form, and he breaks through Grunbeld's massive shield. Shirka tells the others not to celebrate yet, as the armor is pushing Guts' body way beyond its limits, and it will break him before long. Grunbeld goes apostle mode and starts becoming a giant stone dragon. He sends Guts flying with a blow that shatters most of his bones, but the Berserker armor just snaps the broken limbs right back into place. Ow! Shirka hears the voice of Flora again, who tells her that she is the only one that can bring Guts back to reality. Shirka enters the astral plane to search for Guts' true identity deep inside a whirling inferno of hatred. She's repelled by the intense emotions, but as soon as she mentions Casca's name, Guts overcomes his dark nature and snaps out of it, just in time to save Casca and Farnese from an apostle. With Guts no longer in rage mode, Grunbeld is about to incinerate the whole party, but he is blocked by Flora appearing as a massive guardian spirit. She protects the group and tells them to make their escape so Guts can recover from his injuries. Best old lady in fiction!
This forest will not last much longer. When the spirit tree falls, this domain will close forever.
Now, I bet you've been wondering what's been happening in the capital of Midland since the king died. I know I haven't. They've been under occupation by the Kushan army for a while, and Princess Charlotte is being held prisoner. But somehow, Minister Foss has managed to survive and form a resistance group. Looks like that conniving little twerp really stepped up for his kingdom when it mattered most. The resistance fighters are attacked by alligator monsters controlled by the Kushan, but are saved by Irvine and Locust from Griffith's new falcons. They tell the rebels to hide, because Griffith is on his way to liberate the kingdom. Our next episode starts with the squad recuperating in a cozy house they found, and Guts heals quickly thanks to some magic ointment. They plan to continue traveling towards Puck's home of Elfhelm, an island not visible on any map. It's also home to a powerful fairy king who might even be able to fix Casca's broken mental state. Farnese asks Shirka to train her in the ways of magic so she isn't quite as useless. Shirka says for most people it would be impossible. But Farnese has seen so much crazy spirit world nonsense at this point that she might have a strong enough connection to the astral plane. Relax, Serpico. You don't want your half-sister to be useless her whole life, do you? Outside, while Guts is doing his best to comfort Shirka over the death of her master, they get another visit from the Skull Knight. He warns Guts that if he keeps using the Berserker armor, he will slowly lose all the human parts of himself. Guts has a brilliant plan, though. He's going to keep using the armor and worry about the consequences later. A master tactician.
The debt I owe you has been increasing lately. Well, that's nothing new, I suppose. But thank you.
Later, the group is attacked by the Kushan alligator monsters. Guts dons his Berserker armor again, but tries to focus on only drawing the minimum amount of power while keeping his sanity. Serpico finds and slays the Kushans controlling the monsters, but their spirits all combine to create an enormous fish monster. Guts is then forced to draw out the full power of the Berserker armor, destroying his body again. Just like before, he's barely able to restrain himself, but thanks to the power of his personal bonds, they all live to fight another day. Our last episode is finally here, and if you thought the last 2 season finales were crazy, well, get ready to be disappointed. Sorry. On their way to Elfhelm, the party comes across Farnese's and Serpico's hometown, the holy city of Ritanis. They decide to check it out, and Shirka is stared out by everyone for dressing like a witch, causing her to run off from the group. She comes across Sonia, the young girl that serves Griffith. Sonia is excited to meet a witch, and the 2 girls bond over being outcast from society. They see a group of pirates taking a group of Kushan children to be sold as slaves, and with some help from Isidoro, they beat down the scummy pirates and free the innocent children. Sonia asks Shirka to join her boss without mentioning the important fact that her boss is probably the destroyer of the world. Oops. Shirka declines and says she wants to stay with Guts, but she is then hit by a sudden vision of Ritanis burning. Then, the party spends the night in a rowdy tavern, and even though they are surrounded by brutes and depravity, they are glad they are at least surrounded by friends. So that brings us to the end of the entire anime adaptation of Berserk, so far. Like I said, it's not the most exciting note to end on, but if you're itching for more, you can always go check out the manga, which continues the story way beyond this point. And who knows, maybe after 20 more years, they'll take another crack at adapting this thing. While it may not be the most feel-good story out there, I don't think I've ever been as invested in a character's motivations as I was with Guts. Dude is literally too angry to die. Too bad we may never get to see him end that piece of Griffith. But what do you think? After all he's done, including killing innocent people, does Guts still deserve a happy ending? Has Griffith truly earned the title of evilest character in fiction? Make sure to like the video and leave a comment about it below. As usual, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.
Alright, let's keep reacting to stuff, because I can't game in this weather. I can't game in this weather, bro. I cannot game in this weather. Do we watch this? Or we watch something else? I could just disable entire YouTube live chat to tell them to go to my Twitch instead. Yeah, that's a good idea actually. Holy shit, I should have done that earlier. It's a good idea actually. Holy shit. What does this mean if I disable this? Is entire chat disabled? Ooh. Let's rearrange them. Something like this. Yeah, that's fine. Holy shit, over 2 hours. 8!
There's been a popular trend in anime recently, with shows that are just complete, unapologetic power fantasies, basically asking the question, what if a complete nobody became one of the most powerful and charismatic beings in existence? And no series does this better than Solo Leveling. Seriously, we're about to see our man Jin Woo go from this to this.
Well, look at you, Mr. Popular.
Solo Leveling is a 2024 anime based on a popular South Korean web novel written by Chu Gong. The series follows an unassuming Sung Jin Woo on his journey from being one of the weakest people in the universe to the absolute strongest. The series has become incredibly popular due to its amazing battle animations, as well as the fact that it explores a question I'm sure all of us have fantasized about at some point. What if my life became a video game? The series so far covers about the first 100 chapters of the web novel, but we still got at least 100 more to go, so strap in. And without further ado, let's get into the entire story of Solo Leveling so far. Our first episode starts off 3 years ago. 3 years ago from what though? I'm not sure. A fleet of warships are stationed at Jeju Island off the coast of South Korea. The Hunters Guild has been tasked with raiding this island to exterminate an army of gigantic killer ants. Hunters go into an island to fight a species of super ants. Now, why does that sound familiar? The Hunters are a group of men and women armed with swords, shields, and magic, but most of them are no match for these monster ants. Fortunately, they get saved by 3 way more powerful hunters. These are S-rank hunters, each one capable of taking on a whole army of ants by themselves. Nearby, the S-ranked leader of Precious Hunters Guild, Choi Jong-in, watches the battle with pride before launching a massive...
This one only in 1 time speed because the story is like new to me.
Fireball attack.
Half
Roasted ant, anyone? Hello? So, here's a little backdrop. 10 years ago, gates to an alternate dimension
Berserk,
suddenly began popping
new
up
to me,
all
and,
over the world.
just
Magic beasts
recapping,
that are
so,
immune
yeah.
to all conventional weapons start pouring out of the gates and causing mass destruction. But at the same time the gates started appearing, magical combat abilities began to awaken in some humans, who became known as hunters. Hunters can either work independently or join a guild for more structure and stability. The aptly named Hunters Guild is the biggest guild in Korea. Additionally, hunters are ranked based on their power level, from the legendary S ranks we just saw all the way down to the much weaker E ranks. Whatever power level you awaken at is the one you're stuck with, because there is no way to increase your magical abilities. At least, no way that anyone has discovered yet. So now we're jumping to 3 years after the raid on Jeju Island, where a group of hunters are preparing to enter a gate and explore the dungeon within. See, when a gate appears, if hunters don't enter it and defeat its boss within 7 days, the gate will break and monsters will begin flooding our world. Interestingly, inside the gates they can find valuable essence stones that can be used to make magical weapons and armor. The stones also provide a limitless source of clean energy, so the government is willing to pay quite a bit for them. Anyway, the hunters are preparing to enter the dungeon when our protagonist, Sung Jin Woo, enters. Nicknamed the weakest hunter of all mankind. Sounds harsh. As his nickname implies, Jin Woo is an E-ranked hunter who is especially weak, even for the bottom rank. He got his nickname after he was hospitalized in an E-rank dungeon, which is supposed to be the easiest level of dungeon that even children could clear. The other hunters are actually pretty nice to Jin Woo though, including his B-rank healer friend Lee Ju-hee and the raid's older team leader Mr. Song. See, each dungeon has its own rank on the same scale as the hunters. This one is only a D rank, but inside the dungeon, we get a first-hand look at just how weak Jin Woo is. He struggles against a single low-level goblin, breaks his dagger, and gets stabbed in the chest. Wow, they were not kidding. Jin Woo has to be saved by another hunter and healed by Ju-hee. While he's sitting on the sidelines, the team manages to defeat the dungeon's boss, a giant werewolf. Ju-hee tells Jin Woo that he has to be more careful, and pretty much implies that if he's this weak, maybe being a hunter isn't the right job for him. Damn, when your friend is telling you it's time to quit, maybe you should listen.
I thought your stomach was all that needed healing, but you're hurt everywhere.
The hunters count up their loot and are disappointed to see they barely got any essence stones. Just then, one of the hunters notices a tunnel leading deeper into the dungeon. This means they are in a rare double dungeon. They're technically supposed to report this to the Hunters Association before entering, but they don't want to give other hunters a chance to nab the essence stones inside. They take a vote on entering, and it's a dead tie with Jin Woo as the the deciding vote. He knows he won't even be able to help in this next dungeon, and his friend Ju-hee wants to leave. But bro does not have it easy at home. His dad is missing, his mom is sick and needs expensive treatment, and on top of all of that, it's all on Jin-woo to pay his younger sister's college tuition. He really needs the money and votes to explore the second dungeon. Big mistake, Jin-woo. Ju-hee tells Jin-woo he's an idiot for taking a risk like this, but says he can make it up to her by taking her out to dinner sometime. The hunters come to a massive set of stone doors and enter what looks like some kind of ceremonial chamber. The doors slam shut behind them, and as soon as a hunter tries to reopen it, a giant stone statue comes to life and slaughters him. Another statue shoots a massive beam from its eyes that incinerates multiple hunters. Jin-woo shoves Ju-hee out of the way to save her life, but he has a bad feeling that this may be the final raid for humanity's weakest hunter. Episode 2 starts, and the hunters are all completely freaking out, including Ju-hee, who is paralyzed with fear and unable to heal any of her wounded comrades. Who's useless now, little Miss Healer? Team leader Mr. Song lost an arm in the attack, but the guy is actually a great leader and doesn't even let that faze him. Mr. Song tries to calm everyone down and tells them that the statue's attacks seem to be triggered by movement. Then Jin-woo reads a stone tablet on the wall that says the hunters must prove their faith if they want to leave alive. Jin-woo tells everyone to bow down to the largest statue, and it works. If his goal was to make things even worse. The giant statue starts grinning and stands up from his throne. The big fella starts stomping across the room, crushing hunters left and right. Brutal! Jin-woo sees some statues around the room holding instruments and realizes they must be the safe ones. He orders the survivors to each run to one of the musician statues and drags Ju-hee, who is still in shock. It turns out only one person is allowed at each statue, so Jin-woo has to run all the way across the chamber to the only safe statue left. He reaches it, but loses a foot in the process. Outside, Jin-woo's younger sister Gina is visiting their mother in the hospital. Mom is in a coma, and she's suffering from the most anime-sounding condition I've ever heard of: eternal sleep disease. Basically, she's permanently asleep, and the doctors have zero clue why. I guess nobody really needs science anymore in a world with magic. In the dungeon, the survivors all move to an altar in the middle of the room. As soon as they're all there, the doors swing open and the statues start approaching. Jin-woo believes the open door is a trap and insists that everyone stay on the altar to prove their faith. But these guys aren't about to take orders from the weakest hunter of all mankind, and they all run straight for the door, leaving only Jin-woo, Ju-hee, and Mr. Song. Every time someone leaves the altar, the doors close a little bit more, so Mr. Song says that one of them will need to stay behind to keep them open. As the kick-ass team leader he is, Mr. Song offers to stay behind himself, but that won't work since Jin-woo is down one foot and Ju-hee is still in no condition to carry him. Jin-woo tells Ju-hee that he will keep his promise of buying her dinner and hands her the one essence stone he was able to collect. Then Mr. Song carries Ju-hee out, leaving Jin-woo alone to face the statues. The statues torture and mutilate Jin-woo while he curses himself for his own weakness. His bloody, broken body lands right on top of the altar when a strange message suddenly appears in front of him. It asks Jin-woo if he would like to become a player. Since the other option seems to be dying horrifically, he hits yes. Our next episode begins, and Jin-woo wakes up in the hospital with no injuries and all of his limbs still attached. Two officials from the Hunter Association stop by and tell Jin-woo it's been 3 days since the dungeon raid, and they found his body laying right outside gate. Ju-hee and Mr. Song both survive, but will be retiring as hunters after the trauma they went through. The officials are now curious how an E-rank hunter could have survived something so dangerous. In some rare instances, a hunter can go through a second awakening, where they gain some magical boosts and become a higher rank practically overnight. The officials use a mana meter to measure Jin-woo's power level, but no dice. Bro is at a measly power level of 10, while the average E-rank hunter is somewhere around 70. Oof! As soon as they leave, Jin-woo notices a screen floating in front of him that nobody else can see. He suddenly remembers that he agreed to become a player, and slowly comes to realize that his life has basically basically become an RPG. The system gives him a daily quest called Strength Training that consists of 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 squats, and a 10-kilometer run. Is this system trying to make the guy go bald? The system warns Jinwoo that he will face a penalty if he fails to complete his daily mission, but Jinwoo is a bad gamer and completely ignores it. As soon as midnight hits, Jinwoo is teleported to a vast desert landscape and is attacked by an enormous centipede monster. The system tells him his new punishment mission is to survive
Dude,
for
no
4
way.
hours.
They actually added WhatsApp Plus. WhatsApp Plus is a real thing now. No fucking way. It used to be a joke. It used to be a fucking joke. 2,49 Euro.
He manages to survive by just running for his life the entire time and gets teleported back to the hospital exhausted. The next day, Joo-hee comes to visit Jinwoo, and she is shocked to see him fully recovered and running laps around the hospital. At least he's learned his lesson. When he completes his daily quest, Jinwoo gets recovery items, skill points, and a random loot box. Jinwoo thinks back on how weak he has been in every raid up to now and starts dumping all of his points into his strength stat. Going straight for the glass cannon build is an interesting choice. Inside the loot box is a key that will take Jinwoo to an instance dungeon. Basically, a new dungeon that exists only for Jinwoo to explore and loot. He teleports in and is immediately attacked by 3 goblins. He struggles to dodge their attacks, but is able to cut through them thanks to his increased strength. Before he can even catch his breath though, a giant wolf with a metal jaw lunges toward him, and Jinwoo starts to think he may be a little underleveled for his dungeon. You think? In the next episode, Jinwoo can barely hold his own against the wolf. Like I said before, Jinwoo is a bad gamer who didn't even check his skills or inventory before jumping into a dungeon. What a noob! He finally thinks of this mid-fight and equips a sword that he uses to take out multiple wolves. With that, Jinwoo hits level 2. Hey, everyone's gotta start somewhere. Jinwoo is then attacked by a whole pack of wolves, but he thinks that compared to the terror he felt with the killer statues, this is nothing. The more Jinwoo fights, the stronger he gets, and the easier the wolf slaying gets. He defeats the last one and gets a teleportation stone he can use to leave the dungeon. But Jinwoo isn't about to leave when there's still experience to be farmed. Outside, Joo-hee is walking home when she gets a call from the Hunters Association. She is still dealing with the trauma from the double dungeon, but the association tells her they desperately need a healer for a dungeon break nearby. She thinks about how Jinwoo is already back to training after going through the same trauma as her, and she agrees to help. Jinwoo soon encounters the dungeon's boss, an enormous snake monster. Despite the overwhelming odds, Jinwoo refuses to back down and launches himself onto the snake's back. He grabs the beast's neck with his bare hands and starts to squeeze.
I know I can kill you right here and now!
Damn, Jinwoo is actually becoming a beast of his own. The monster is slain, and Jinwoo gets a bunch of experience plus a C-rank poison dagger. The dungeon disappears, and Jinwoo is teleported back to the real world. As soon as he's back, a soldier tells Jinwoo he needs to leave the area as there has been a dungeon break. He tells the soldiers that he is a hunter and asks where to go. When he reaches the gate, Jinwoo sees hunters fighting against a D-rank stone golem. Jinwoo sees that Joo-hee is among them and decides to help her out while testing his new strength. He hurls a broken sword at the golem and shatters the beast's defenses, allowing the other hunters to easily defeat it. Joo-hee catches a glimpse of Jinwoo walking away and wonders if he was responsible. Episode 5 starts, and I'm not sure why Jinwoo is even still in the hospital at this point, but it might have something to do with the attention he's getting from all the nurses.
Guy looks scrawny until he takes his shirt off, then it's like, oh damn. When did we admit a patient as ripped as that?
He continues to complete his strength training quest every day until his body is ripped. And as he is finally getting discharged, a cute nurse asks for his phone number. Jinwoo isn't used to this attention though, and thinks she just needs it for his paperwork. This is why you need to put more points into charisma, my man! When he gets home, his sister Gina can tell Jinwoo has changed too. Not only is he shredded and has better hair, he's taller and has better posture as well. Damn, I gotta start getting some skill points for myself. himself. While he may be raking in the experience and stat points, Jin-Woo is still broke when it comes to real-world money. He doesn't want to draw attention to himself by suddenly signing up for high-ranked dungeons, so he settles for a nearby C-rank gate. He meets up with his raid group, led by the friendly Dong-Suk. Dong-Suk's group is a party that regularly does raids together, and they need an extra 2 hunters to meet the minimum requirement for this gate. They all recognize Jin-Woo as the weakest hunter and tell him to hang in the back while they do all the work. Yeah. Jin-Woo thinks it's strange that the party is doing a raid without a healer, but shrugs it off. The party is joined by the young Jin-Ho, a chatty D-rank hunter wearing expensive gear for his very first raid. Aww. The party enters the gate and are soon attacked by insect beasts. They're nothing special, and Dong-Suk's party has no trouble defeating them even without Jin-Woo's help. Even still, Jin-Woo can't help but feel like something is off with this party. It must be the increased intelligence he got from leveling up. Before long, the party reaches the boss's lair, a huge cavern full of mana crystals, which are less valuable than essence stones but are still worth a good amount. Dong-Suk tells Jin-Woo and Jin-Ho to wait there while the rest of the party goes back for mining equipment.
All right. Go ahead and seal off the entrance to the lair if you want.
As soon as they're out of the room, these bastards cause a cave-in that traps our 2 boys in the room and wakes up the giant spider boss. Apparently, these jerks are so greedy that they're willing to kill 2 people just so they don't have to split crystals with them. Jeez! They picked the wrong E rank to mess with though. Jin-Woo pulls out his fancy new poison dagger and faces down the spider boss. In episode 6, Jin-Woo is fast enough to hold his own against the giant spider, but he is barely making a scratch and his fatigue stat is increasing fast. Fortunately, he has a whole stockpile of recovery items from his daily quests, and he is able to heal back to 100% right before the spider makes a killing blow. Jin-Woo uses his new dash skill to launch himself on top of the spider. He then hits its weak point with his new dagger to apply paralysis and drain debuffs. The magic beast soon falls, and Jin-Woo gains a couple more levels. Jin-Ho is stunned by this and assumes that Jin-Woo must be a fake ranker. These are basically hunters who lie about being lower ranked just because they love killing things weaker than them. He's pretty much terrified of Jin-Woo after this and starts calling him boss. Dong-Suk and his party return to the cavern, shocked to see the 2 boys are still alive. They assume Jin-Ho must have been the one to kill the boss using his expensive gear, and Dong-Suk tells Jin-Ho they'll only let him live if he kills Jin-Woo for them. Jin-Ho isn't about to turn on his new boss though. The party approaches and Jin-Woo gets a sudden urgent quest, telling him to kill the 6 humans or his heart will stop. Sure, yeah, but what about the rewards? While he's distracted by the notification, the party's mage blasts Jin-Woo into the cave wall. He gets back to his feet and calmly walks towards the party, accepting that this is the only way he can grow stronger. He slices one guy's head off and takes out the others within seconds. Once only Dong-Suk is left, Jin-Woo spills his secret and tells the bastard he's been leveling up this whole time.
I've been leveling up this whole time.
After that, he beheads Dong-Suk and the 2 boys exit the dungeon covered in blood. Damn, I'm not saying they didn't have it coming, but it's still pretty scary how casual Jin-Woo is about killing 6 people. If this game system has a morality mechanic, I don't think Jin-Woo is doing too well on it. Our next episode starts with a worker at the Hunters Association telling his boss about the massacre during that last raid. Jin-Woo and Jin-Ho reported that the spider was responsible for killing Dong-Suk and his party, but the association is a little suspicious that 2 lower-ranked hunters were the only survivors, and even more suspicious since this is the 2nd super dangerous dungeon Jin-Woo has survived. Also, it turns out Dong-Suk has a younger brother, an infamous S-ranked hunter named Dong-Su. That's not great news for Jin-Woo. Back at home, Jin-Woo is having some fried chicken and beer with his sister, and he discovers that his poison resistance stat is so high, he can't even feel the effects of alcohol anymore. Oh man, what kind of lame RPG is this? Then, Jin-Woo gets a call from Jin-Ho asking to meet at a cafe. There, we learn that Jin-Ho's father is the wealthy CEO of Yujin Construction, and his rich papa is planning to create a guild of his own. He wants Jin-Ho's older brother Jin-Sung to lead the guild, but Jin-ho wants to prove that he's the better son for the job, so Jin-ho asks Jin-woo to help him continue clearing the gates to prove himself, and offers to reward him with 30 billion won for just 20 raids. Damn, Jin-ho! But Jin-woo knows that since there's no limit to how much experience he can gain, there's really no limit to how strong he can get.
If I keep increasing my stats, I could even reach S rank.
30 billion is a lot, but it's nothing compared to how much Jin-woo can make if he gets as strong as an S rank. Plus, Jin-woo is really more of a lone wolf type anyways, so Jin-woo turns down Jin-ho's proposal and gives the poor boy a death stare to make sure he doesn't blab about Jin-woo's secret. Ooh, scary. Later, Jin-woo tries to decide doing double the required exercises for his daily quest, and he gets some pretty sweet secret rewards for it. Among them is a key that will take him to an S rank dungeon, and the system tells him that the reward for this dungeon is the Elixir of Life, a powerful medicine that can cure any illness. Jin-woo's mind immediately jumps to his comatose mother, and he wastes no time teleporting himself to the demon's castle. Jin-woo may have gotten a lot stronger, but he is not ready for that S rank smoke. He is attacked immediately by a massive 3-headed Cerberus beast that smacks Jin-woo around like it's nothing. Jin-woo is losing HP fast, and when he tries to use a teleportation stone to retreat, he straight up drops the damn thing. Should've leveled up your dexterity, bro. As usual, Jin-woo has the brilliant idea to explore the game system while in the middle of a fight. This time, he discovers the system shop where he can buy potions to buff his stats. The beast traps Jin-woo in his jaws and starts chipping away at his few remaining health points, but Jin-woo refuses to give up and stabs the beast over and over. In the end, Jin-woo comes out on top and levels up 5 more times. This dude is unstoppable. In episode 8, one of the rewards for killing the Cerberus beast was the recipe for the Elixir of Life, but Jin-woo will still need to get 3 ingredients from inside the demon's castle to create it. Considering how close of a call he just had, he decides to spend more time grinding experience before heading back in. The best way for him to do that is to just keep clearing dungeons, so he calls up Jin-ho and tells him that he's reconsidered the offer to team up. Jin-woo's only condition is that the two of them enter all of gates alone, because he doesn't want anyone else seeing how insanely strong he is yet.
Fewer people going in means less chance of casualties, and you know we can come out unscathed.
And just like that, the Jin-ho Guild is born. Meanwhile, a representative from Eugene Construction approaches the S-rank hunter Cha Hae-in. Hae-in is the only S-rank hunter in Korea who isn't already associated with a guild, and Jin-ho's dad really wants to get her to join the new Eugene Guild. She declines and then pays a visit to her friend Jung-in, the leader of the Hunters Guild. They talk about the raid on Jeju Island and how it was actually a complete failure, with many hunters losing their lives. Jung-in vows to recruit more high-rank hunters, return to Jeju Island, and conquer it. We also catch up with some of the other survivors from the double dungeon. Joo-hee is still deeply traumatized by what happened. Mr. Song wants to prove he can still be useful despite missing an arm, and the other 2 survivors, Kim and Jung-ho, feel bad that they left Jin-woo in there to die. Each one of these survivors gets a notification about a nearby D-rank dungeon, and they all decide it's time to come out of retirement. Jin-woo heads to the dungeon as well, and what a coincidence, the 5 survivors from the double dungeon are all here. It's super awkward since most of them left Jin-woo to die, but Joo-hee breaks the tension by telling Jin-woo how good it is to see him, and how much he seems to have changed. The group is then joined by 3 more C-rank hunters in handcuffs. Apparently, the Korean government is letting prisoners help out with raids in exchange for a reduced sentence.
Loser, why not come get hot and heavy with me, baby?
What is this, some kind of suicide squad? The prisoners are being supervised by Tae-shi, a B-rank hunter from the association, and one of the guys who retested Jin-woo's magic power in the hospital. Still, there's no way this goes well. The next episode kicks off, and the party starts clearing through waves of goblins in the dungeons. They can't believe how much stronger Jin-woo has gotten. Of course, they have no idea just how much he's holding back. They soon come to 3 tunnels heading in different directions and decide to split up. Jin-woo can sense the boss is in the left tunnel, so he goes that way with Joo-hee and Mr. Song. Tae-shik takes the right path with the prisoners, but it turns out they're not the ones who are going to be doing the killing. See, these 3 are currently serving time for assaulting a young girl who later took her own life. That girl's father was enraged that these scumbags were allowed to participate in raids to cut down down their jail time, and he paid Taeshik to make sure the convicts don't make it out of the raid alive. As a B rank, Taeshik is able to take out criminals easily. Unfortunately, it turns out the 3 tunnels are all connected, and Kim and Jong-ho happen to wander in mid-murder. Uh-oh! Jinwoo's party soon reaches the same room and find all the hunters slaughtered. Kim is the only one still breathing, but he's far too gone for Joo-hee's healing magic. With his last words, Kim apologizes to Jinwoo for leaving him to die. Mr. Song can tell their injuries weren't made by magic beasts, and suddenly, Taeshik attacks from the shadows. Mr. Song thinks he's the only one who stands a chance against this B rank, but he couldn't be more wrong. Jinwoo gets another urgent quest from the system, telling him to kill Taeshik. Jinwoo uses his full power to start blocking attacks from Taeshik, leaving everyone stunned.
Look at that agility. He's nothing like the Gino I remember.
But Taeshik is an assassin build, and he can use his stealth skill to turn invisible. Slaughtered. Kim is the only one still breathing, but he's far too gone for Joo-hee's healing magic. With his last words, Kim apologizes to Jinwoo for leaving him to die. Mr. Song can tell their injuries weren't made by magic beasts, and suddenly, Taeshik attacks from the shadows. Mr. Song thinks he's the only one who stands a chance against this B rank, but he couldn't be more wrong. Jinwoo gets another urgent quest from the system, telling him to kill Taeshik. Jinwoo uses his full power to start blocking attacks from Taeshik, leaving everyone stunned.
Look at that agility. He's nothing like the Gino I remember.
But Taeshik is an assassin build, and he can use his stealth skill to turn invisible. Fortunately, however, Jinwoo's perception stat is high enough that he can still sense Taeshik's location from his bloodlust. After a prolonged battle, Jinwoo uses his new skill called Murderous Intent, which is basically an intimidation skill that puts Taeshik into a state of panic. Jinwoo takes the opportunity to land a killing blow. As a reward, Jinwoo unlocks the stealth skill for himself. Score! After Jinwoo quickly finds and kills the dungeon's boss, the 3 hunters exit gate. They report to the Hunters Association officials that Taeshik was a murderous creep, but Mr. Song takes the credit for killing him to protect Jinwoo's secret. Then, Joo-hee reminds Jinwoo that he still owes her a date. Flirting with a guy immediately after he just killed someone in front of you is bold, Joo-hee. I like your style. In episode 10, Jinwoo and Joo-hee go for a stroll through the park. Sadly, it doesn't look like they'll be starting a serious relation anytime soon, because after 2 traumatic raids in a row, Joo-hee is planning to retire for good this time and move back to her hometown.
As I'm leaving, I'm retiring as a hunter.
Oh, I guess Jinwoo will have to find a new hunter baddie to flirt with. The next day, Jin meets up with Jin-hoo and their newly assembled strike team. A team needs a minimum of 8 hunters to sign up for raids, but since Jin-woo and Jin-ho are the only ones who will be entering the gate, Jin-ho hired hunters that are cowardly, inexperienced, or just plain lazy. The strike team is unsure about this shady arrangement, and getting paid to just stand around is too good a deal for them to pass up. Among them is the E-rank Song Yi, a friend of Jin-woo's sister who just recently awakened to her abilities. Less than an hour after entering the gate, Jin-woo and Jin-ho exit with crystals in hand, and the strike team is shocked. They head straight to their next raid, and over the next couple days, Jin-woo farms for experience, the strike team farms for cash, and Jin-ho farms respect from his dad. It's a win-win-win. Eventually, Jin-woo, now at level 40, gets a notification from the system telling him he has unlocked a job change quest. Ooh, consider me intrigued. Elsewhere, another guild is starting to take notice of Jin-woo. The White Tiger Guild is one of the top guilds in Korea along with the Hunters Guild. The guild's manager, An, is looking through raid reports and realizes that Jin-woo has now miraculously survived 3 super dangerous encounters. He deduces that Jin-woo must have gone through a second awakening and tries to recruit him by offering double what Jin-ho is paying. When manager An approaches him, Jin-woo uses his new stealth skill to vanish from sight and basically tells An that he's not someone to be messed with.
You've been snooping around, is it?
I wouldn't call it snooping, per se.
Don't turn around.
This dude is unrecognizable from episode 1 right now. In episode 11, Jin-woo travels deep into the woods and accepts the job chain quest. Based on his stat points and build so far, Jin-woo will get a new specialized class at the end of this quest that will unlock powerful new class abilities. As if he needed to be more OP, he is teleported into a castle, and the system tells him that recovery items are forbidden during the quest. Jin-woo battles knights, assassins, and mages, but but he's strong enough now that none of them pose much of a threat. Again, his timing is terrible, but Jinwoo finally decides to check out his gear screen and equips a full set of B rank armor. The equipment is invisible too, so he gets all the buffs without actually having to wear heavy armor. Okay, this system is way overpowered. After beating all the minions, GR decides to check out his gear screen and equips a full set of B rank armor. The equipment is invisible too, so he gets all the buffs without actually having to wear heavy armor. Okay, this system is way overpowered. After beating all the minions, Jinwoo opens a massive door into the castle's throne room for the next phase of his quest. His opponent is Commander Igris the Blood Red, and he is without a doubt the toughest enemy Jinwoo has faced yet. Jinwoo realizes that his dagger is unable to pierce Igris's armor and switches to fight bare-handed. Igris sees this and drops his own weapons to keep the fight fair. Damn, forgive me, Commander Igris, I wasn't familiar with your game. Igris beats Jinwoo down with a flurry of punches, and before long, our guy finds himself low on HP and collapses over Igris's throne. The Red Knight then summons his sword and brings it down for a final blow, but Jinwoo catches the blade in his hand and tackles Igris right into the wall. Jinwoo equips his dagger again, activates every skill he has, and is just barely able to defeat Igris. For his reward, Jinwoo gets a ton of gold and experience, an S-rank helmet, and a new skill called Ruler's Hand. His quest isn't over though. In fact, it's just beginning. Hordes of knights start teleporting into the throne room, and the system tells Jinwoo to survive for as long as he can. But our guy is already exhausted, and after just 5 minutes, he once again drops his only teleportation stone. How can someone so incredibly powerful be so dumb? Our season finale kicks off, and Jinwoo keeps taking down as many knights as he can with his bare hands, until his knuckles are bloody and his fatigue is at its limit. He starts hearing voices from his past, taunting him for how weak he used to be, and telling him he isn't strong enough. Jinwoo has a vision of his former self who tells him it's time to give up. An enemy knight pins Jinwoo down, and just as he's about to be executed, he gets saved by an incredible stroke of luck. See, Jinwoo forgot to do his daily quest today, and just moments before his death, the clock strikes midnight, and Jinwoo is teleported to the penalty zone. And this is without putting any points into his luck stat? In the penalty zone, Jinwoo is able to access his recovery items and the system shop. He buys a new dagger that's extra effective against armor types, and equips his new skill from Igris, which lets him move things with his mind. Seriously OP! Once his time in the penalty zone is up, Jinwoo is sent right back to the castle, this time at full power. He battles the knights for hours until the job change quest is over. The moment of truth is finally here, and the system tells Jinwoo his new class, Necromancer. What? Jinwoo is shocked too. He was expecting something like an assassin or a berserker, but since he barely put any points into his magic stats, necromancy was the last thing on his mind. At first, he tries to decline, but the system tells him it's a hidden class, and he can't resist how cool that sounds. Once he accepts, the system tells him that because he performed so well in the quest, his class is automatically upgraded to Shadow Monarch. With his new class, he can extract a shadow from a fallen enemy and add them to his army. Jinwoo tests it out on Igris and his soldiers, and the army of shadow soldiers kneel to their new master. Whoa, okay, necromancy is badass. Meanwhile, on the outside, the Hunters Association is preparing for the 4th Jeju Island raid, hoping that this will be the time they finally defeat the ants once and for all. A team of S-ranks, including Guildmaster Jong-in and Haein, lands on the island to scout it out. As soon as they do, they are horrified to find the ants have evolved since last time, and now have wings. Okay, do we really need this island that badly? Find another vacation spot, damn it! The first episode of Season 2 kicks off with a bang. Jinwoo attending his sister's parent-teacher conference. Gina's teacher tells Jinwoo that Gina's friend Song-yi has stopped coming to class since she awakened as a hunter, and asks Jinwoo to try and convince Song-yi to stay in school. Jinwoo agrees to take her on a little ride-along because he's such a good older brother that he'll look out for girls he isn't even related to. Nice one, Jinwoo! Meanwhile, the terrifying Dong-soo has just arrived in Korea from the US. He's the S-rank hunter whose brother Dong-suk was killed by Jinwoo. Dong-soo is greeted by an official from the Hunters Association, and the hulking S-rank hunter confirms that he only came back to Korea to get revenge on Jinwoo and Jinho.
First the E rank,
then the D rank.
A super illegal thing to say, but hey, he's an S rank, so who's gonna stop him? Later, Jinwoo and Song Yi tag along on a C rank raid that the White Tigers are about to start. The second they all step through the gate into a vast frozen wasteland, it transforms into a red gate. A red gate basically means the dungeon will be way harder than a typical C rank, and there is no way in or out until they kill the boss. The party is immediately ambushed by ice elves, and they end up losing one of their C rank hunters before the elves retreat into the forest. Song Yi is terrified, but Jinwoo promises to protect her. Aww. The party splits into two teams, one with Jinwoo, Song Yi, and two other hunters, and the other led by the White Tiger's tanky A rank Kim Chul. I know which team I'd like to be on. Jinwoo buys some nice fur coats from the system shop for his team and calls out his shadow army for their first fight. Igris and his men are strong enough to slay all the ice bears in the dungeon without Jinwoo even lifting a finger himself. Jinwoo extracts the shadows of the slain ice bears, and he now has even more beasts at his disposal. Is this RPG turning into an auto battler? Also, Dong-Soo hears about this whole thing and heads straight to the Red Gate himself. He prays for Jinwoo to make it out of the dungeon alive so that he himself can kill Jinwoo personally. When will they realize the more challenges you throw at this guy, the stronger he gets? Our second episode of this season opens, and the psychotic Dong-Soo says he doesn't think there's any way Jinwoo was strong enough to kill his brother, and he really just wants an excuse to kill someone. Damn, they really just let anyone be a hunter, huh? He almost gets into a fight with the White Tiger's S-rank guildmaster, Baek Yoon-ho, but then Dong-Soo is called away on urgent business. Ugh, another lucky break for Jinwoo. Meanwhile, things have not been going well for the A-team. Chul's entire team is wiped out by the Ice Elves, and the A-rank hunter barely manages to escape with his life. When Chul comes across the other team wearing fur coats and enjoying some bear meat around the fire, he snaps and attacks his fellow hunters. Jinwoo knocks the guy out instantly so he can focus on the real threat. The dungeon's boss has just shown, along with an entire band of ice elves. Oh god! The leader of the elves starts speaking to Jinwoo, and they're both surprised to learn that thanks to the system, Jinwoo can now speak their elf language fluently. The leader introduces himself as Barca and tells Jinwoo that every magic beast has a voice in their head directing them to kill humans. However, this voice is not telling them to kill Jinwoo, which Barca says must mean that Jinwoo isn't human. Barca then offers to let Jinwoo live if he gives up the other hunters, but he refuses and summons his shadow army. Here we go! An all-out battle begins between the elves and Jinwoo's Nightbear squad. Chul wakes up again and attacks Jinwoo, but Igris intercepts him with a killing blow. Jinwoo extracts Chul's shadow and adds a monstrous tank beast named Iron to his roster. Barca proves to be Jinwoo's toughest opponent yet. With the help from Iron and Igris, he's able to activate stealth and land a fatal stab.
Looks like it's over.
Jinwoo tries to extract Barca's shadow, but it fails due to Barca being too high of a level. Jinwoo will just have to settle for a couple more levels and Barca's dagger. Then his team exits the gate and Song Yi tells Jinwoo that she now wants to be a hunter even more than before. Ah, well, that backfired. In the next episode, Jinwoo and his shadow boys are back to grinding out dungeons with Jinho, trying to get a couple more levels before tackling the demon's castle. At night, Jinwoo goes drinking with Jinho, and the two boys reveal that they consider each other to be more like brothers than friends. Aww! Tanjiro might have a rival for best big bro MC. Jinwoo heads back to the demon's castle to get the ingredients for the elixir of life. The system gives him a new quest to slay 10,000 demons. Once that's done, a door opens to the second floor where he has to kill 10,000 more. And there are 100 floors. Yeah, he's gonna be at this for a while. Having a literal army at his command is a huge help though, and before long, Jinwoo has reached floor 75 and finds 2 of the 3 required ingredients. Looks like he'll have his mom back in no time. Over in America, a wild-looking man named Il-Wan suddenly emerges from a gate and claims to have been trapped in a dungeon for the last 10 years. Dong-Soo is called to interrogate this man, and Il-Wan tries to warn him that gates and and magic beasts are just a precursor to a much larger catastrophe. The man also shares that he has a wife and a son named Jin Woo. Oh, wait, could it just be a coincidence? As soon as Dong-su hears this, he taunts Il-wan by telling him that his son is dead. We then jump a bit ahead to see that the detention center has been completely demolished. Il-wan has escaped, and the S-rank Dong-su has been utterly defeated. Seriously, this family is insane. In episode 4, Jin Woo realizes that he has gotten so high level at this point that if he wants to make any real gains, he'll have to start joining raids at A rank and above. So he decides it's time to stop pretending he's still an E rank and goes to retake the hunter assessment. Jin Woo uses a mana meter to check his power level, but he's so insanely strong that the machine can't even measure it.
His mana levels are so incredibly high that they can't even be measured by our equipment.
This has only happened a handful of times in the past, and it can only mean one thing. Jin Woo is now an S rank. Guildmaster Jong-in from the Hunters Guild and Yoon Ho from the White Tigers try to recruit him, but Jin Woo ignores them both. He gets a job offer from Chairman Go Gun-hee, a once legendary hunter who is now much older and the chairman of the Hunters Association, but Jin Woo turns him down as well. He's already got a full-time job, and that's the grind. The association asks Jin Woo to come back in a week for a reassessment to make his S-rank status official, but he's not big on waiting around. Our guy joins the mining team for an A-rank dungeon and sneaks off from the other miners to go find the boss for himself. When he reaches the boss chamber, Jin Woo is stopped by the S-rank hunter Hei-in. Episode 5 starts, and Jin Woo plays it off like he's just a confused miner and heads back to the mana crystals. Hei-in stops him just long enough for her to sniff his chest. Okay. Apparently, Hei-in has a unique sense of smell, and Jin Woo is the first hunter she's met who didn't smell bad to her. Nice! We're at the attractive women think you smell good part of the power fantasy. He may not have been able to fight the boss, but Jin Woo does such a good job mining that he is offered a job carrying equipment during an A-rank raid the next day. Jin Woo meets the strike team for this raid, led by the A-rank hunter Son Ki-hoon. This supposedly high-level squad is having trouble against a group of high orcs, but Jin Woo uses his stealth to weaken the orcs without being seen. Realizing this dungeon is tougher than expected, the party turns around to retreat, but finds a magic barrier blocking the gate. They are then cornered by a massive horde of orcs led by the monstrous Kargalgan. The orc tells Ki-hoon that he can choose between dying here or coming back to the orc's base. Ki-hoon is brave, but clearly not the best strategist, as he agrees to follow the orcs and tells Jin Woo to try and escape as soon as the fighting starts. Something tells me that's not exactly what Jin Woo is planning. On the outside, Hei-in is still suspicious of Jin Woo and follows him into the gate. Be honest, ma'am. You just want to smell him more. The next episode opens inside the orc's base, where Kargalgan shares that the reason he wanted to bring the hunters back here was so he could torture and devour them for his troops' entertainment. Who could have guessed? To his credit, Ki-hoon is the only member of his party who isn't paralyzed by fear and charges at Kargalgan, but the monster uses telekinesis to smash Ki-hoon against the ground. Jin Woo intervenes and tells Ki-hoon to escape with the others while he takes on the orcs alone. Jin Woo summons his shadow army using a new skill called Monarch's and bring them over to his side. Hei-in, along with 3 association officials, reach the base and observe Jin Woo furiously battling Kargalgan. The poor orc chief gets jumped by shadows of his own men, and before long, Kargalgan himself has become another soldier in Jin Woo's army, renamed Tusk. Damn, this squad is rolling deep! Our next episode kicks off with Jin Woo going to the Hunters Association for his reassessment. He holds nothing back and shows the association his shadow army as well as his insane physical abilities. A famous actor who recently awakened happens to be holding a press conference right outside, but once word spreads that there's a new S rank in town, the reporters start mobbing Jin Woo. Around the country, all of Jin Woo's friends are shocked to learn of his true power. Jin Woo goes to a magic shop and sells all his unused gear to buy even higher ranked gear. He leaves some of his shadow soldiers at home to protect Gina and heads back to finish the last 25 floors of the demon's castle. His shadow boys are able to do most of the work at this point, and Jin Woo himself only has to step in for the boss of each floor. On floor 80, he's about to slay the armored boss. chaos when a female voice asks for mercy from inside the armor. Meanwhile, in a coastal town near Jeju Island, a flying ant beast lands and starts attacking humans. These damn ants! In episode 8, the Floor 80 boss takes off her helmet to reveal a young demon woman who introduces herself as Essel, a princess from a family of demon nobility. She tells Jinwoo she can give him the key to this floor and tell him where to find the keys on the upper floors if he spares her life. Ooh, handy! With his new demon guide, Jinwoo keeps exploring while trying to get more information about magic beasts from Essel. She tells him that all monsters used to live in the demon realm and were one day transported to these dungeons. But before she can say more, she glitches out as the system stops her from talking. Meanwhile, the Hunters Association gets reports that the ants are getting more aggressive, and they ramp up their plans for the next Jeju Island raid. This time, they're pulling out all the stops, and they're even collaborating with the Japanese Hunters Association, who will be sending 10 of their own S-ranks along on the mission. I'm crossing my fingers that Kurapika is one of them. Eventually, Jinwoo reaches the final floor and comes face to face with the Demon King Baran, an imposing knight riding atop a white dragon. This battle of Shadow Monarch versus Demon Monarch is absolutely insane, and Baran takes down even Jinwoo's strongest shadow soldiers like it's nothing. Essel decides to betray her own kind and distracts Baran, allowing Jinwoo the opportunity to tear the Demon King's arms with his raw strength. The fight ends with Jinwoo completely obliterating Baran's head with an uppercut that parts all the clouds in the sky. Demon's Castle cleared. We're in episode 9 now, and Jinwoo has collected all the ingredients he needs to craft the elixir of life. But Mom will have to wait just a little longer because Jinwoo has a dragon soul to extract. He names his new dragon warrior Kaisel and unlocks a new class ability that will let him switch places with any of his shadows instantly. Jesus, could he get any more overpowered? Jinwoo hurries to his mother's hospital room and pours the elixir down her throat. Miraculously, it works, and Jinwoo's mother wakes up for the first time in years. She tells her son how much older he looks and how proud of him she is, and Jinwoo breaks down in tears. Gina is called to the hospital, and it's a beautiful family reunion. Chairman Go summons Jinwoo to the Hunters Association to ask him to join the Jeju Island raid. Jinwoo recognizes it'd be a great opportunity to level up, but now that he's reached his goal of saving his mother, he doesn't even really know what he's fighting for. I don't know, saving people from giant killer ants feels like a good reason. Just then, the S-rank hunters from Japan arrive, and their strongest member, Guildmaster Goto, proposes a friendly free-for-all sparring match between Japan and Korea. Unless they have a Japanese Jinwoo hiding somewhere, I know which side I'm betting on. The next episode starts with the hunters from both countries going all out against each other, and the Japanese S-ranks quickly prove they're just as powerful as their Korean counterparts. Hei-in injures a masked hunter, causing him to snap and try to hurt her for real. Jinwoo steps in and blocks a massive blow with just his forearm, stopping the fight. Goto is impressed by this and challenges Jinwoo to a one-on-one fight, which Jinwoo accepts under the condition that Goto doesn't hold back. Japan's strongest hunter is offended by this, but he quickly learns the reason for Jinwoo's confidence.
Evading such quick attacks is very impressive.
Jinwoo dodges every one of Goto's attacks and taunts the Guildmaster on, but before they can both reach their full power, the other S-ranks stop the fight. Stop teasing us! I want to see S-ranks going all out! Over on the island, the Queen of the Ants is celebrating that her strongest soldier, the Ant King, is finally about to be born. Seriously, I'm getting some major deja vu here. After the sparring match, Jinwoo decides that the other 15 S-ranks should be able to handle Jeju Island on their own. He would rather stay home with his mother, who has been in a coma for 4 years, which is pretty hard to argue with. The next day, the joint operation finally begins. A-rank hunters are stationed on battleships surrounding the island while the S-ranks head for the mainland. And just to add even more tension, the whole mission is being streamed live to the entire world. On our primary strike team, we've of course got the elegant Hei-in, Guildmasters Jong-in and Yoon-ho, along with the S-rank healer Byung-gyu, their tank Dong-wook, and the archer Tae-gyu, and a civilian cameraman, who is probably the bravest character in this entire series. The powerhouse team heads right into the ant tunnels to find the queen. Over on the other side of the island, the Japanese hunters are having no problem with the soldier ants, but then, without warning, one of the Japanese S-ranks gets beheaded in the blink of an eye. Ooh, Ooh, I think King has arrived. In episode 11, the Japanese hunters get picked off one by something too fast to even see, without even getting the opportunity to put up a fight. The Korean team in the meantime has found the queen and is preparing for a tough fight against her royal guards. The human tank Dong-wook grows to a massive size. Jong-in starts launching huge fireball attacks, and Yunho turns into a werewolf because yeah, that's something he can do. The queen is tough as hell, but thanks to some top-tier healing from Byung-gyu, the strike team is able to keep attacking until their opponent is finally slain. All across Korea, people start celebrating, but it might be a bit early for that. The king, a terrifying lightning-quick black ant, returns to the nest and walks right up to the body of his fallen queen. He bellows in rage and immediately attacks the hunters, sending each of them flying with just a single blow. They're able to hang on for a bit thanks to their camouflaged healer, but the king is perceptive enough to detect an invisible Byung-gyu and punches right through the poor guy. The king realizes that these hunters are no match for him, and he flies off to find a more worthy foe. And that's bad news for Japan's strongest hunter, since Goto is now the most powerful hunter left on the island. At home, Jin-woo sees the live broadcast cut out and decides it's finally time for him to step in. Took you long enough. Jin-woo had some of his shadow soldiers hiding within the shadows of the S-rank hunters, just so he could swap places with one of them if the situation ever got out of hand, and I'd say it's officially out of hand. The next episode kicks off with Jin-woo teleporting right into the queen's chamber, much to the surprise of the injured S-ranks. Our OPMC starts handing out health potions, and they work for everyone except Hae-in, whose HP is too low, and Byung-gyu, who's, well, dead. Oh, and Goto has also been killed, before we ever really got the chance to see his true strength. Guess we won't be getting that Japanese spin-off after all. The king senses his new powerful presence and returns to the chamber. He asks Jin-woo if he is the king of humans. Jin-woo starts pummeling the Ant King with his bare hands, but the king is able to land a single blow laced with poison. Jin-woo is weakened by the toxin, but uses a detox skill to instantly neutralize the effects. The Ant King sheds his exoskeleton to reveal his true form, and the battle reaches an insane pitch. The Ant King thinks that Jin-woo is likely his perfect equal in strength, but can't understand how he is able to continue getting stronger during the fight. I guess he had a couple stat points tucked away for a rainy day. Jin-woo slices off the king's arms while his shadow army demolishes the remaining ants. Eventually, the king panics and tries to escape, but Jin-woo activates his mutilation skill to finish him off with a flurry of blows. Let's freaking go! Also, cameraman was able to fix the live stream just in time for all of Korea to see how insanely strong Jin-woo is. The season finale begins, and despite this incredible victory, Hae-in is still on death's door, with nothing from Jin-woo's inventory helping at all. Even the elixir of life has no effect. Just then, Jin-woo hears a voice from the dead Byung-gyu. The S-rank healer asks Jin-woo to use his power to save Hae-in, so Jin-woo extracts Byung-gyu's shadow. The shadow uses powerful healing magic to save Hae-in, and then Jin-woo releases the shadow from his control so that Byung-gyu can rest peacefully. With their king and queen dead, the rest of the ants go berserk and try to escape the island. Jin-woo extracts the Ant King's shadow and gets his strongest soldier yet. He names this new unit Beirut, and he's also the first shadow actually capable of speech. Jin-woo sends Beirut out to destroy all of the remaining ants. Oh, and in the middle of this, Jin-woo hits level 100. Damn, is there even a level cap in this system? We then get a glimpse of China's strongest hunter, a long-haired man wielding dual daggers. If he's anything like Japan's strongest hunter, I'm sure he'll prove to be a huge disappointment. Anyway, the fourth Jeju Island raid was a complete success, and later, Jin-woo is congratulated by Chairman Go. The association chairman asks Jin-woo what he plans to do next, and Jin-woo responds that he's been thinking about starting a guild of his own, presumably a one-man guild. Then we get a real mysterious scene back on Jeju Island. An ice elf and a beastly man
Alright, here is what the plan is. So this stream almost nothing happened, only reaction, but I did a lot of settings configuration. Did did a lot of emote adding. We have almost on 7TV we all have almost 500 emotes now, which was my goal, to just have like a very big amount, but them to also be fitting to the streaming themes.
Discuss an unnamed powerful.
It's too hot to play a game on stream, as you can see, entire table full of sweat. So at least I streamed something instead of nothing.
Being who was the one that granted Jinwoo his power. They're not
So yeah, we basically just set stuff up for the future.
happy with this development, but say that the hunt will continue as planned and Jinwoo will not be able to stop them. Little do they know, Jinwoo's dad is hiding in the corner watching this whole conversation. I have a lot of questions, but they're gonna have to wait because season 2 is just about wrapped up. Across the country, the other S ranks vow to get stronger so they never have to be saved again.
Next stream, more content, bro. I swear, next stream is going to be better. Next stream is going to be better.
And Jinwoo himself is stuck in traffic when a gate suddenly appears and he heads in solo. It transforms into another red gate and Jinwoo summons his army to take on whatever challenge comes their way. And there you have it, the entire story of solo leveling so far.
Alright. Have a good one. Have a good one.